Welcome, one and all. We're back after a couple of weeks off, which is all my fault, but thank you all for your patience. We're back with the finale of King of the Riff and a whole lot more tonight, as always, before we get stuck into things. A big welcome to my co-hosts here tonight. We have Dave beside me on the screen. We have Jeff in the opposite corner and Belle underneath on the screen. Thank you once again, not only for jumping in, as you always do, but also for your patience the last couple of weeks, because it's been a bit fucking stupid at my end. A bit going on. Yeah, so please jump in, say hi, let us know in the comments, what you're doing here, what you're looking forward to tonight, all the usual stuff, because like I was saying, we've got a lot to get through. We're going to do 3 rounds, King of the Riff. It is the season finale for comeback albums. So the first round tonight will be AC/DC Back in Black versus Def Leppard Hysteria. The second round will be Iron Maiden, Brave New World versus Rammstein, Untitled. And then the finale will be the winner of those 2 rounds facing off to conclude this season. Dave has this week's Backyard Banger, which is a ripper from Hidden Intent with their album called Terraform. We're going to go through albums from 1985. Belle has the game tonight, so we're all going to wait and see how that goes, because she was talking about a screen being janky before, so we'll see how this all works out with the OCD front. Jeff has prepared an epic when it comes to Dream Theater Parasomnia for his Global Groove tonight. And their reference links to everything we're talking about in the description, but we'll share them in the chat as we go along. And Jody says hello to everyone as always. So jump in.
Hey, Jody.
Hey, Jody.
Hi, Jody.
Yes, she's already sort of halfway asleep over there, but we'll see if she gives any of that text in the morning.
Wake up!
Wake up, Jeff. All right. We always put a question in a question of the day in here. So this is one that ties on to what we did on Sunday, Jeff, you and I. Jolie's here in Discord saying hi, Rockos. We've got Michael here saying good evening, everyone. Jump in here, people. Say hi to us. Let us know where you're watching from and answer this question for us as well. Today's question of the day is, when it comes to cover songs, do you prefer them to be faithful or different to the original? There we go. That's the question of the day. Faithful? Yeah. Jeff likes faithful. I like different, but we'll see. And if you have to lean on one side or the other, do you prefer faithful covers or different covers to the originals? There we go. That's the question of the day. Other Michaels here. There's always plenty of Michaels in the chat, so good to see you as well. Hey. And off we go. So let's get stuck in. As always, we start off with the Hot Rocks portion of the show. I'm going to do a quick little apologies to Patreon people, because I was going to try putting a Patreon update, but I forgot to do it this week. It was like, okay, we're going to go live in 5 minutes, and I didn't do it this week, so my apologies to those in Patreon. I'll remind you and send you a link later on. I did send it in Discord, but anyway. But Hot Rocks this week has a bit of a twist because of we didn't plan the week off beforehand, but I was able to edit something and get it online beforehand. Then last week was just a complete fallover at the last minute on my behalf. So because we've had a couple of weeks to play with things here, and we had notes and everything ready to go last week, but didn't go ahead with it in the end, I've given the option for everyone to either stick with the song they were assigned last week or go with a new song this week. Belle and Dave have exercised the right to just carry on the notes they had from the song from the week before. Jeff and I are going with new songs. So just going to tweak the format a little bit to accommodate both of those things here as we go through. Yes, okay, Jeff. You've had enough fun behind the scenes this week. Thank you very much. So,
more on that later.
Yes, definitely more on that later. All right. So the new songs that are currently in Tastemakers, our playlist in Spotify this week, we have Spawn with Ascension, Electric State with What Do You Want, East York with He Doesn't Deserve You, and Blackfire with Big Billions. Nomination from Jolie, which is Brandon Lake with Sevens. We have Vinny's song, which is Crooked Shapes Misery. Michael C put Jolie with Stir It Up. Other Michael put Malevolence with Salt the Wound. I put in Psychroptic with Architects of Extinction, and Kat put in 6th Century Demon Inside. So those are the new songs. It's one hell of a little playlist there, so go and check it out. It's called Tastemakers on Spotify, The Hard Rock Show. You can find it that way.
Very tasty.
But that brings us to the results of this week's top 10 as we go through things. So we're going to start off with some honorable mentions as always. So Voice of Bassaprop put the gun down, didn't quite make it into the top 10. Voyager, after a number of weeks up the top and then sliding its way through, finally slid out. Just not quite enough votes to get in again this week, but it has definitely enlightened us with better days overall. Hopefully the band are doing better overall on that front as well. But that was a great song for a long time in the playlist, but it's slowly falling out of Hot Rocks now. There's another playlist on Spotify. Just look the Hard Rock Show, Hot Rocks. You'll find it. Number 10 this week was Ailstorm, Killed to Death by Piracy from Michael C. Roxbury with Played came in at number 9. Vinny put forward Shiraz Lane with Dangerous. That came in at number 8 this week. So that means number 7 was the number 1 for 2 weeks in a row, which was Nesta, which was In the Name of Rock and Roll. That slid down to 7 this week, but it was in top place for quite a while there.
Oh.
Number 6, something different, but it does cross over, was Robbie Williams featuring Tony Iommi with Rocket. Jolie put that one forward and got enough votes to get number 6 this week. A hell of an interesting combination there.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the first song of this week to go through, because number 5 this week is Dead Eyes with Thanks for Nothing. So I'm going to put a link in the comments now for everyone. There is a link in the description box, so go and check it out if you want to, folks. But Dead Eyes, Thanks for Nothing is the title track for an EP that was released back in May this year, 2025. As such, it's the latest offering from this Baltimore, United States band. This song is apparently about betrayal and emotional exploitation, with the band describing it as a petty, sarcastic thank you note to everyone who made you feel like you weren't enough. Jolie put this one forward, made it to number 7 last week, or whatever, and as such, got up to number 5. I think it actually climbed up this week, so it's gone from 7 to 5, jumped up. Belle has kept the assignment from last week, so over to you.
Okay. Oh, Jolie.
That sounds promising.
Yeah. Look, all right. Look, it's punchy and melodic, good vocals, good lyrics. It's classic song structure. Straight away when I put this on, I got like Zoomer era production on it. Modern production.
That's a new one. Zoomer era production. That is
That's a really good
wow.
Clip
That is a great term.
I'm going to clip that one. That's
Yeah.
good.
That's becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Zoomer era.
I just think you know what I mean though, like just that kind of, there's a certain sound that a lot of these sort of younger bands of the Zoomer era are putting out, and the production on it, and
Makes
they're all
sense.
quite, there's a sound anyway, so that's just how I hear it.
I get it.
Yeah, so that production was so present that it just, the line between the electronic and the real instrumentation was quite blurred. Like there are some bands that you can, I don't know, you can hear either, but anyway, but whatever. This is all part of it. The song itself, or songwriting to be precise, leaves me feeling like, although I know it's an original song, it's a new song that I've never heard before, I felt like I'd heard it before. So that can either be a good thing or a bad thing. In this case, for me, it was not a good thing. The singer had a good voice, but it was also a generic voice. I had that heard it before sound, but then I was thinking, or maybe it sounds generic because all the modern production has just sucked the originality out of his voice. I don't know which. I don't really care enough to find out. Just realised I'm starting to sound like Dave. That's a bit scary.
You're right, though. You just have better terminology. This whole Zoomer era production. That's fantastic.
That's a good one. I'm going to steal that.
Go for it. I'll understand what you're talking about if you say it. I don't know. There was nothing wrong with this track, which was another way of saying mediocrity rules. Like, see my horns? They're flaccid. These are flaccid horns. That's what I'm getting.
Wow.
The horns need Viagra.
Okay. Belle needs weeks off more often. She's coming in hot tonight. Like, she's afraid.
You can use that one too. I don't know. A song called Thanks for Nothing by a band called Dead Eyes pretty much sums up the level of excitement that this song gave me. I give this 5 shots.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Jolie. Just didn't find it exciting at all.
That's all good. Look, we always say to be honest, because that way when you do love
Yeah.
something, it definitely shows through. So it's nothing wrong with it. It's all good. And I, even despite the opinion, I do love the delivery. So that was well done, Belle. I think a round of applause. That was very nicely done. All right, let's do the rounds here. Thumbs up, thumbs down from the rest of us. I liked it, actually. I'm going to go thumbs up.
I liked it.
Dave in the middle. That's what I thought the response would kind of be here. So that's all right. All good. And Jolie's gone. It was fun, Belle. She laughed her ass off. Watching the comment in Discord. So she
Thanks,
was laughing
Jolie.
at it. So we got some love there. Kat's here saying, hey, good to see you. Saying,
Hello.
good to see you as well.
Hey, Karen.
Kat's laughing at that one
Karen.
too. And Vinny's here saying, hey, everyone, welcome back. Just jumped in to see Belt make dick jokes. What's next? Dick pics in Discord. Not going to happen, Vinny.
We're still waiting for your whatever we're waiting for.
That song?
What was that?
The song he was going to make for us. I think it was.
Yeah. So, Vinny,
I think.
Go for it.
Yeah, there was something that we didn't
There
want
was
to see.
Something-
We've waited so long, we've forgotten.
Innuendos. There was
Yeah.
something innuendo. Yeah.
yeah.
What do we got here? Belle's gone. Michael Bell said, Bell, in true form, you bagged that. It's just like the folks they're singing about. I give that track 7 hatchets. And there we go. And Darren's here. Good to see. He's gone flaccid horns. Nobody wants that. This is true.
Yeah.
Especially in the picture form. All right, let's move on. Coming in at number 4 this week after Deadeye's actually rose to the occasion. Number 4 this week was a song called Aimless, this is on trend, from an artist known as Calva Louise. Number 3 this week in Hot Rocks was Aussie band, I should say, The Yellow Wallpaper with their new single Great Wall. So please do go and check that out. And then we're going to now squeeze in the next song. This is number 2 last week. So we're going to put it in here before we get to the second song for this week. Number 2 last week was the latest from Temtris, which I'm going to throw to Dave for in just a moment. So there's a link in the comments and description box, so check it out. But this is Temtris with The World Is Bleeding Out, the very latest from the New South Wales, South Coast-based Aussie band, and serves as the lead single from their upcoming album, Queen of Crows. This will be the band's 8th studio album and is set for release on August the 8th, 2025 by Wormhole Death. Guitarist and producer Anthony Fox says, a world of consequences for all the tragedies of the human experience, and yet we cannot deny that when we walk the paths of destruction, that the greatest threat we face is. This one climbed to number 2 overall in week 4. So it's gone very nicely. It's held on for a bit, but now Dave chose to keep the assignment like Bell did. So over to you, Dave.
Cool. Yeah, this song's awesome. That's why I kept it. It was cool. For me, this has everything a metal song needs. They're not reinventing the wheel or anything. They're simply bringing passion, enthusiasm, and talent to songwriting and performing. Old school 80s approach with some symphonic elements added in, which is win-win as far as I'm concerned. Chorus is instantly memorable with a pretty straightforward message in the lyrics. Vocals are powerful. She has a lot of conviction in her delivery. She's got some personality in the way she does her delivery as well. I like how the song opens with a whole calm before the storm approach, which is a nice touch. Lyrics draw you in. You get in the frame of your mind for this song. Guitar riffs are nothing short of impressive. Solo is fucking insane. It's melodic and it shreds, and it's cool enough to impress the guitar nerds like me. That sweep picking is absolutely awesome. It's nice to see musicians using 7-string guitars to their full advantage. I watched the video and I have to say that 7-string Jackson is fucking sick. I want one.
Wow, that's a comment from you. Jeez.
7-string guitars are cool. I want one. If you're playing properly, you don't just teach in the chords and play the heavy part.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Cool thing about doing THRS, I get to find bands like this. The bad thing is we're constantly hearing new music. And I forgot we reviewed this album, the previous album back in 2023, which I fucking loved. And went back to have a listen to that as well. It hasn't dropped a... What am I saying? It's fucking great. It's as great now as it was then.
On you, yeah.
Hasn't lost anything. That's it. Fuck, I haven't had a beer. I'm fucking sober. Fucking awesome song from a great band. But please, for fuck's sake, put some information on your Spotify bio. I give this 10 shots, double horns up. Loved it.
Nice. All right, cool. Well, we've got some love for that one. That's off to the races. Let's do the rounds on this. Genevieve fucking smokes it. 2 thumbs up from me. I fucking enjoyed this one a lot. 2 horns from Jeff. Bells in the middle somewhere. Slightly semi-flaccid, we call that.
Semi-flaccid.
It's a production thing more than a execution.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Fair enough.
Belle, when you do your ratings, can you just do like the horn?
it's like mostly it's a little bit like I don't know, like mum's knocking on the door, kind of like
Okay.
Fuck
We
off,
are going
no,
there,
halfway
folks.
there.
This is going to be a good night, people. Get ready for whatever's going to happen next. On that, Craig's gone, hello, everyone. Good to see you. Hopefully you enjoy the show tonight.
Hey,
Craig's gone, Temtris, 7 shots for 7 strings. Nice comment.
That
And
works.
Vinny's gone, half a wiener from Bell. There we go. Half a wiener will do.
Just a semi from Bell.
Sammy.
Sammy.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a guy I work with who calls things a mediocre wienering. That's what this sounds like in terms of Bell's.
No, that was the last song. No, she's
That
more
was the
than
last
mediocre.
song. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to some other new songs that we're going to talk about here. Number 2 in the chart for this week for our Hot Rocks playlist was a song, a band called Chasing Ghosts with their song Flowers, which I'm going to grab and put into the comments now for everyone to go and check out. So please do. This one here is the single comes from a Melbourne band. It's from their 3rd album, Therapy, which was released back in May independently. Flowers serves as a heartfelt tribute to Sean S.K. Kennedy, the late bassist of I Killed the Prom Queen, who tragically passed away in 2021. From the band, this song begs you to talk with your friends when you're down, to seek help, to remember that all things come to pass and that you're never alone. It's one hell of a story, and as such was nominated by Cat this week. In this week's chart, took number 2 spot, was assigned to me. So let's get stuck into this one. This actually didn't sound what you consider to be like, it's not your traditional Aussie pub rock thing. It felt very slick and very Americanized in its sound and style, but it actually worked really nicely for this one. This is loaded with sort of melody and meaning. It doesn't take long to sort of cut through and hit home, especially in the context of the song. For me, watching the video especially helped that land. I think that there's a lot of emotion, which you do get from the video and the performance of it all, but especially vocally, there's great use of the composition in that element too. And the production, I thought, was fantastic. Yes, it's the polished American sound, but it works. It sounds great. While it's polished, there's a raw intensity that just sort of lands like few others. We've had most of the video sticks landing there too, but we've had a couple of songs now between this and Voyager with Seen Better Days the other week that have sort of honed in on how important music can be or is in the context, expressing real honest emotion and how that never gets stale or old for me. It's one of those special things that we as humanity kind of share, and this song really taps into that for mine. While this is quote unquote tagged as punk rock, I haven't listened to the whole album. I've only heard this song. This isn't obnoxious at all. This is really earnest for me. It's riff driven. The melody and the hook are really well done. It's very radio friendly too for all of that. If this doesn't get commercial radio play, considering the context and the history of this band in Australian radio or TV, then that's a fucking indictment on the industry here as far as I'm concerned, because there's no reason why this shouldn't be getting rotation heavily everywhere at the moment. Like I said before, it sounds great. There's some little tricks in this one too, in the composition and the mixing combined, that really make this sort of interesting from beginning to end. Not an overly long song, but it's got a few surprises in there for you, which is cool. Like I said, very radio friendly, but the song and the message are exceptionally on point, especially in this day and age with all the mental health struggles that so many people are going through on a day-to-day basis. While this isn't, quote unquote complicated or technically anything new kind of thing, it's hard to deny anything as well done as this, especially in the context of the emotive way this hits home. It's well done. It makes me want to go and check out the rest of the album too, for that matter. It's just a good, solid, hard rock song as far as I'm concerned. There might be a bit of a punk edge to it if you really dig for it, but for me, I don't know, this is just a song that hits home, like I said a few times. Kicks off with a punch and holds you from beginning to end. I just think this is a great song, great lyrics that just has something special about it. Impressed me. I gave it 9 shots. I really did enjoy this one quite a lot. I didn't think I'd go into it enjoying it as much as I did, but fuck me, that impressed the shit out of me. So I hope everyone else liked it too, but we're going to find out. So let's do the rounds. How'd you all go? Nice. Everyone liked it. That's cool. Yeah. I'm going to take that as a win, and so should Kat for that matter. Jolie said Chasing Ghosts, loved it, 7 shots. So there we go.
Yep.
Let me see if there's any other comments there. No other comments right now, which means we move on to number 1. But I'm glad that you all enjoyed that song. I'm glad it wasn't just me on the out of there. So always when you go a bit hard, it's like, oh, fuck, I hope everyone liked it. But number 1 this week, time for the number 1 is Sabaton with Templars. So I'm going to stick this one in the comments now for everyone to go and check out. So this is the latest single from the Swedish power metal titans and comes from their upcoming 11th studio album, of which we haven't got a lot of details yet. In something of a thematic twist for this band, though, this song delves into the medieval era from the band. This Templars song narrates the story of the Knights Templar, a medieval Christian military order founded in 1119. The lyrics chronicle their mission to protect pilgrims in the Holy Land, their rise to prominence, and their eventual downfall, orchestrated by King Philip IV of France in 1307. The song encapsulates the themes of faith, betrayal, and sacrifice, aligning with Sabaton's signature storytelling approach. Jeff actually nominated this one, and it climbed to number 1 very quickly, and as such, Jeff got it assigned to him very quickly as well. So without any further ado, Jeff, take it away.
Yeah, this is an interesting song from Sabaton because they're primarily, they like to deal with history and stuff, and so the Knights Templar, some of their history is a little bit nebulous, shall we say. But having said that, this song has atmosphere in spades. I really enjoyed the intro. It got me right from the beginning. There was just I don't know what that sound is, but I don't know, but I loved it anyway, whatever the fuck it was. It was just some sort of sound effect, keyboard or something going on with vocals and stuff. Synth, yeah, I enjoyed it. It is a very cool song. Sabaton is one of those bands that I like, but I don't love. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're really good at what they do, and I know people that absolutely, can say nothing bad about them, and I'm not going to say anything bad about them because they're a good band. And I think they're doing the world a favor. They're teaching kids about history, which is good as well. Because a lot of kids too. Yeah, a lot of kids are getting into history and learning things, even at school. The teachers asking, does anybody know about such and such? And someone will say, yeah. And they'll say, because they heard about it in this song. So that's a really cool thing. I think more bands should do that. And so they've sort of carved out that niche. And because I don't think anyone's doing it. If anyone is doing it, no one's doing it as good as they're doing it. Yeah, I really like this song. I think this song, of all the songs that I've heard from them, and I'm not going to go and say that I'm an expert on the band. I sort of pick and choose songs that I hear now and then. And I don't think I've ever sat down and listened to an entire album, much to my disgrace.
Okay.
They don't grab me that. I know they're really good, but I think I just kind of get bored of the same old, I guess. And that's for me. It's just my thing. But this song, I really, really enjoyed this song, and I think of all the songs that I have heard of Sabaton, this has been my favorite. So, the production on this was really well done. The playing was great. The singing, the drums, the vocals, everything was just bang. And very well done, mixed, everything perfect. So I'm going to give this 9 shots because I think it's great.
Nice. All right. Cool. Well, let's see if we all agree on this one. I do. I loved it. Horns up for me. This is fucking Sabaton kicking ass and taking names. Bell's gone thumbs down. Dave?
I love their last album, and I've seen this band live. They're fantastic, but this is like that. This was really disappointing. I expect more from this band. This wasn't a good song.
Wow.
I love it. That was great.
Different feedback.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because I don't
really
know them.
Disappointing because their last album was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. Okay. I didn't expect that, Dave. To be honest, I know how much you love the band, so it's a really interesting. Yeah. Okay.
I hope the rest of the album's better than this.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, hopefully, yeah, and we'll see what happens. But every band sort of comes down every once in a while. Jolie said Sabaton is brilliant. Loved it. 9 shots. Fantastic. She's in the car with that song, I think it is, so she loved it. What do we got here? So back to Chasing Ghosts here. Vinny says very radio friendly, 7 dicks. There we go. Craig says Chasing Ghosts 5 shots. So a bit of mixed feedback there. Michael says Benny Clark, drummer of Chasing Ghosts, is also a great music photographer. Yeah, he's been around the scene for a while too. He's very good at what he does. Michael says that Chasing Ghosts 7 hatchets. Michael says Sabaton 9 shots. This track is a really great nomination, Jeff. And Craig says Sabaton 3 shots. Wow. Okay, this is getting into a really interesting night tonight. Jolie also said, admittedly, the whole lot of music tracks people picked rock. Now we have had a very good run this week with very good songs being chosen. Alrighty, let's move on to the hard rock happenings side of things. I'm going to catch you all up on a bit of news that's been going on and out there. So first up, Burton C. Bell, the voice behind Fear Factory, is heading to Australia this June intimate shows. Catch him June 11 at the Trifford in Brisbane, June 12 the King Street Band Room in Newcastle, June 13 at the Factory Theatre in Sydney, and June 14 at the Corner Hotel in Melbourne. Local supports for this one have been announced. They include Monsters, Around Us, Mortality, and The Last Martyr. Fresh off his Metal Hall of Fame induction, Burton's set promises heavy, dark, groovy tracks plus some rare deep cuts from across his career. He's also just dropped a brand new single called Savages, which is out now. And if you want to check out more from this, then go to sbmpresents.com for all the details for that one. Bringing things back home to our neck of the woods, Melbourne's own Cicada Stone are celebrating the 1 year, believe it or not, anniversary of their album Future Echoes. That was a record that got huge praise from us here at the show. We loved it, but a year old now, believe it or not. To mark the occasion, they've dropped the Future Echoes extended acoustic EP featuring an acoustic version of Last in Line and brand new track Long Way Down. It's a powerful take on cancel culture and the times we're living in. Apparently, they've also got a deluxe CD reissue of Future Echoes bundled with the acoustic EP plus fresh merch and all stuff available now. Cicada are also playing live Friday, June 27 at the SP Basement in Melbourne and Saturday, June 28 at the Woodshed in Adelaide. Both shows are with Audio Rain and Electric State. That is a killer lineup, so get around that one, people. Two other very cool bands, so all three bands are fucking great. So head to Cicada Stone's link tree for that information and more. Back to Bell's neck of the woods now. Tasmanian death metal legends Psychroptic have officially signed with Metal Blade Records and dropped their new single, Architects of Extinction, which is available now with the video also on YouTube. With over 25 years of redefining technical death metal, Psychroptic are kicking off a massive run of Australian shows next week with Nebula of Ascaris as well, before heading over to Europe with a string of and headline dates. They are playing June the 6th, which is tomorrow, at in Hobart at the Republic Bar. June 7, Launceston at the Royal Oak. June 8, Devonport, Pub Rock Diner. So hopefully Belly can get out this weekend. We'll see. June 10, Perth at Magnet House. June 11, Adelaide Line Arts. I'm sorry, Bill. I feel like I'm destroying every time I do these announcements. June 13, Melbourne, 170 Russell Street. June 4, Sydney Metro Theatre. June 15, Brisbane at the Princess Theatre. They've got another album coming out soon as well, so get around it. Finally, in the news, two bits of news here quickly. One that's very, very fresh is Sebastian Bach, the original voice of Skid Row, as you love, is heading back to Australia this November. This time he's celebrating one of rock's greatest debuts, performing Skid Row's self-titled debut album in full for the first time on Australian shores. Expect all the classics, Youth Gone Wild, 18 Life, I Remember You, all delivered by the voice that made them legendary. On top of the full album, there'll be an encore set packed with hits from Slave to the Grind and Sebastian Bach's solo career. He is playing November 21 at Fremantle at the Freo Social, November 25 in Adelaide at the Gov, November 27 Melbourne at the Forum, November 28 Sydney Enmore Theatre, and November 29 Brisbane Eaton's Hill Hotel. If you get to the Forum, November 27 in Melbourne, that is going to kick ass, because last time I saw him was at that venue and fuck, it went off. It was brilliant. So go if you can.
I'm going. So I won't be on the stream that week.
That's all right. That's fine, man. I want a review from you the week after. That'd be great. But anyway, DavidRoyWilliams.com has all the details for that one. So that one, Jolie's going to be there. It'll be square. I think a lot of people are going to be there. So if you haven't got your tickets, get in quick, because it is going to sell. That one is going to go off. I guarantee it. Finally, speaking of Temtris, earlier tonight, we're going to take a moment to send our deepest support and well wishes to Temtris drummer Nick Bolan, who recently suffered a heart attack while performing on stage in Sydney during the Burning Witches tour. Despite experiencing obvious chest pain, Nick finished the set before being rushed to hospital for emergency surgery. He is now recovering, and the band has understandably cancelled the rest of their shows on this tour to let him focus on his health. So just to Nick, Genevieve, and the rest of the Temtris band, our thoughts are with you, Nick. We wish you a full and speedy recovery. I'm sure everyone looks forward to seeing you back on stage when the time is right, but get well soon. So one of those things where it's one of those moments where it's metal as fuck to, play through the pain, but fuck, you can sometimes get really lucky. So just be careful out there, folks. Richie Horton comes to mind. Yeah, so it's up there with that. On the new music side of things, we're going to quickly throw a few things out here. I'm sorry if I cover off ones we covered a couple of weeks ago, but because I had a couple of weeks off, I'm just going to sort of quickly rattle through the highlights of the last couple of weeks and what's highlighted for me coming out tomorrow. So already out is Sleep Token with Even in Arcadia. Garbage would Let All That We Imagine Be the Light. Behemoth have The Shit of God. Candlemass have Black Star, their latest EP. Taria has a live album called Circus Life out now. Vader released their new EP, which is Humility. Whatever I'm going to pronounce that right. I'm not going to get it right anyway. Skunk and Nancy have their album out, The Painful Truth, and the Dead Daisies Aussie band Looking for Trouble with their new album is out now. Coming out tomorrow, though, we have Volbeat with Gods of Angels Trust, Battlesnake Aussie band, Dawn of the Exaltants, and The Hunt for the Shepherd. Catatonia have their new one coming out, Nightmares as Extensions of the Waking State, and another band, King Parrot, A Young Person's Guide to King Parrot is their new album coming out. A couple other ones too worth mentioning. A to Z have their album A to Z2, their second one, and Inglorious have V or 5. Take your pick. Those are the highlight of the releases of coming out tomorrow as we go through things here. So quickly comments here, if we can see some. Kat says, can't wait to see Cicada Stone and Audio Rain in a couple of weeks at the SB. I knew you were going to that one. I'm glad you're going to see that. Yeah.
Audio Rain are fucking great.
Both those bands are fucking phenomenal. So if anyone if you want to see, I know I wasn't throwing shade, Dave. I know you love them as well. I was just making an extra point on that. But no, and the SB basement, I haven't been there since they remodeled, but hopefully it's better than it was when I last tried to mix audio there because that sucked. But
I swore I'd never go to the SB again because they
know.
fucking hit the bar now. But yeah, the basement seems to be having some rock bands. Which
is surprising to me too. The basement seems to be having a resurgence of late, which is just keeping your ear to the ground kind of thing. So all right, fingers crossed, it's a good sign of things to come, but we'll see. But anyway, that show, regardless, because that room is going to be fucking killer too. Like it's a really tight room, so get in and enjoy a really cool show. That'll have a great vibe about it. Alrighty. Moving on to the next part of the show, which is Backyard Banger, people. So in the comments and the description box, you're going to find a little... hang on, sorry. Kat says, yuppies fucked the SB. Yes, they did. And we all know it, and we all hate them for it.
Fuck everything.
Yeah, they do, unfortunately. That's just kind of how it works. Vinny's gone, just wear a sweater over your shoulders if you visit the SB. Well played, Vinny. All right, let's hope it's a sign of things to come where we can sort of pollute the rest of the SB with what's coming out of the basement. Let's put it that way, make it into a horror movie or something. I don't know. Anyway, in the comments and the description box, you have Hidden Intent with The Ruins. That is the reference track for this week's Backyard Banger. It is Hidden Intent. It is the album Terraform. It is 12 tracks for 47 minutes. The fourth studio album from the Adelaide thrash trio, released independently in March 2025. Terraform was mixed and mastered by Dennis Korn, who's also worked with Sodom and Lacuna Coil, and features guest vocals from Angelis Petridis, Guillermo Izquierdo, I don't know, on the title track of this one, marking a thematic shift from the band's earlier sort of more humor-laced material. This record delves darker, more introspective territory, exploring toxic cycles and the need to terraform the human mind. So far, 2 singles have been released in the title track and The Ruins. The CD edition includes a 16-page booklet as a neat little bonus, and this album was actually requested by Dave, so bookmarked this one a while ago. So with that, we're giving it to him. So Dave, we have loved this band in the past. We've appreciated the humor, but now they've gone a bit darker. So let's see.
They have, haven't they? Yeah,
they have.
Moved away from some of the humor. Oh, this is fucking great. I've been listening to this band for probably as long as I've been doing the show. From the days when we had the song of the week and Dennis picked that song "Addicted to Thrash." That's a fucking cool song and awesome video. And then Dead End Destiny from 2021. That was a fucking awesome album. Fun, thrashy with some Aussie humor. And they still have a bit of that Aussie humor in this, but the tone is a lot more serious. Even the artwork is a lot darker. You compare this one to the previous albums, you can see that this is a different beast altogether. It doesn't have anything like Drop Bears or Real and Pub Feed. They're great songs, but yeah. I heard this album when it came out in March. Right from the start and all the way through, my thoughts were, this is fucking brilliant. As soon as I finished, I started writing notes because I knew I was going to review this at some point. I have to say, I really needed this album when it came out. It was getting to the point where it seemed like any heavy band were just relying on the same old boring cliches, and it was fucking doing my head in. I was left wondering if there were any bands that could actually write a heavy, engaging song that was actually interesting. And fuck yes, right here, thank you, this is how it's done. This has everything. Aggression, energy, solos, coherent vocals, great lyrics, space and pauses in the composition, which makes this interesting to listen to. By letting some chords ring or leaving a slight pause in between the playing, it builds anticipation, it builds drama. It makes you wonder what's coming next. And when the next brutal assault does come in, it's fucking awesome because you have something to weigh it up against. Not just the same 4 minutes of the same shit over and over. Killer fucking guitar tone. I would love to play through this setup. The riffs are fantastic, dexterous, melodic, and fucking cool. It has its roots firmly in 80s thrash while sounding fresh and inspired. I'm going to talk about some songs, not all of them, but before I do, I'll just say it once so I don't have to repeat myself over and over. These solos are fucking awesome. Big song, all
Nice.
fucking cool.
Agree.
Okay. The Runes. After the intro track, this one builds up, and once you know when it's going to kick in the full gear, it's going to tear your fucking head off, and it does. But there's space, it breathes, and some of the melodic guitar lines would make John Petrucci proud. Infatuation. This song is both fun and aggressive. The lyrics in the chorus makes me ask myself, what the fuck is wrong with me? The answer is, who cares? Just enjoy it. Come Punch. This is an awesome 90 seconds. Tears your fucking head off, shreds a solo, and then you get that Aussie, yeah, fucking shit cunt.
Yep.
I lost my shit when I first heard that at work.
That's great.
Cool, they still kept that Aussie humor. But that song's 90 seconds. By mixing up the song lengths and styles and the tempos and the themes, it goes towards making this a truly interesting listen. At the same time, nothing feels out of place. Even the next track, which is a slower one, which is something really different for this band. They haven't done something like One More for the Road before. It shows some growth and maturity for their songwriting, especially compared to a song on their previous album called Get a Dog Up Ya.
Yeah. Agree.
Both songs are awesome. They show different sides to these guys. They're human, they're capable of so many things. I'm glad they don't live it themselves. Great lyrics on this song too. Then you have a song like The Loss, which is a nice 2-minute instrumental acoustic, clean tone track. Once again, mixing up the song lengths and tempos. Dysomnia. Has anyone ever listened to the end of The Thing That Should Not Be from Master of Puppets? That guitar tone is, you got it?
Yes.
That guitar tone is fucking awesome. I want more of that. They did exactly that, and it worked perfectly. That is a fucking cool sound. Excellent album. Give it 9 out of 10. The Runes, Killfatuation, Come Punch, More for the Road, and Dysomnia are my standouts. But fuck yeah, if you haven't heard this, get on it. It's fucking cool.
Nice. Well done. That's a great review, Dave. And I'm going to be saying that I'll agree with you. We'll do the rounds first. Belle, how'd you go?
Yeah, good. I don't actually listen to a lot of thrash anymore. And when I do, I prefer the tried and true ones, that we all kind of grew up with. The ones, well, not all of them, but the ones that kind of have more light and shade rather than just a full-on onslaught for 45 minutes. I kind of have separated my preferences into those two categories. Well, into one of those two categories. And these guys have that in spades. Like they do that, not the onslaught, the light and shade. Like they have plenty of the onslaught, but it's measured. Like it's just not all that, and it's good. A good thrash album also needs to have some cool grooves and points of interest through all the chugging. They do that as well. And somehow Hidden Intent have created a thrash album that is so incredibly old school, but so incredibly fresh as well. Like it's just wow, this is fantastic. There's stuff in there that's familiar and beloved and also cool and new. So well done there. Kirsten Bound had a really cool old school vibe. And it was like a lost track from Ride the Lightning. That's the vibe I was getting from that one. And Dysomnia had also a cool throwback vibe too, but I thought it was more like a 90s kind of moving into the 90s era, but also cool. The pacing throughout the album was really good. Thrash is generally pretty fast paced, but a lot of the slower songs on here were really cool, like possibly my more favorite ones. Good grooves, and it just kept the album interesting as a whole listen. Acoustic moments on here were really nice too. Like the intro for One More for the Road, I thought was gorgeous. The Loss was only 2 minutes, but probably my favorite song on the album. It was just stunning. Loved it. I have one question though. I haven't heard the term "cum punch." Is that created by Hidden Intent?
I'm not sure. Actually.
I have no idea. Some things I don't want to know.
I want to know what it means. If Hidden Intent,
doing that.
Did you create it? What does it mean? Or if you didn't, what does it mean? I want to know.
Hidden Intent, let us know. Yep. Please.
There must be a story.
The people must know.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Be a story.
Yes, I do. I'm dick obsessed, although not necessarily dick related.
True.
Tonight. Like, oh fuck! I'm just 8 shots. Yay, medal.
Oh well, there's some context in this one tonight. There's going to be a recurring
fuck.
theme all the way along. All right, let's let Belle off the hook and go over to Jeff. How'd you go?
I need to go for a minute.
Oh, speaking of cum punch, I didn't like this. I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was really sorry. I had to do it.
Yeah,
no,
well
this
done.
is a really good album. I don't think, maybe it's just because I'm an idiot, I had never heard these guys before, so this was my first introduction to them.
They were quiet for a little while.
Yeah, so I knew that you guys had had some history with them and whatnot, and had heard them before. But for me, I was a virgin, so I came into this like not knowing what to expect. I thought the name Hidden Intent was a really cool name, but it could have been a fucking dance troupe for all I knew. I just didn't know. I had no idea. So imagine my surprise going in thinking it was a dance troupe, getting what I got. This was a very nice surprise to that, and yeah, old school thrash, yet fresh and new. It's got that light and shade, all that stuff that you guys talk about. It's all there. You can tell that there's a lot of thought, and a lot of writing prowess went into the creation of this. It wasn't just slapped together. There was a lot of thought that went in behind it, and it comes out in the music. It's really well done. The lyrics are great. The melodies are great. Like I said, that whole light and shade thing, peaks and valleys, all that stuff. It's all here. And I thought that this is about as good as it gets for thrash in the 21st century for me. And I didn't even know they were Aussie. I had no idea. That's fucking awesome in itself. Obviously with the Backyard Banger thing, I'm like, well, there you go. It's got to be. But like I said, I didn't know who the fuck they were. So they've made a fan. They've made a new fan, which is good. It's always good when you make a new fan, and you have made a new fan, Hidden Intent. So thank you very much for doing such a wonderful job on Terraform. So I really liked it. So I'm going to give this 9 shots.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, for me, from the second that haunting sort of little intro fades out and the first sort of quote unquote real track sort of kicks in, this is meaner than anything they've done before, as far as I'm concerned. Hidden Intent have flirted with sort of darker territory in the past. This time they've gone all in, and like you, Dave, I fucking love it. Early on, I couldn't help but imagine like a 1-2 punch live set with these guys and Alien Weaponry. I think that would be fucking phenomenal. Like 2-3 piece bands that would absolutely kill ass, kick ass, or kill everything inside together. What's really impressive for me though on this one is that even with all the aggression and that weight and all that sort of stuff, they haven't lost that signature groove and swing that's been a staple of their sound. This thing moves. It drags you along for the ride the whole way through. The riffs are phenomenal. The solos, which have been mentioned, are fucking absolutely shred. And sonically, this is just so big and punchy. It's just really meaty to listen to, which I fucking love. Lyrically, it goes even, it goes deeper to sort of dark. It's gritty, loaded with meaning. There's a lot more going on here than just the classic thrash tropes. If that's your jam, this will still get you. Don't get me wrong at all. But it's got all that rhythm and the riffs and the all out attack you want for that, plus more. But there's just more to this one. It's a bit more cerebral, and I really did enjoy that approach. I love the mix. It breathes. It's direct but not claustrophobic in that regard. They're not afraid to sort of leave space, which is nice. Yeah. Just makes the heavy moments really pop even more, as far as I'm concerned. Like that light and shade that's been mentioned, but with the acoustic moments, and they go just go gut punch. I'll use that term for why they want to fucking really hit you hard on things. It does really land. But on top of all that, there's still melody in there, not so much vocally, but in the way that the songs are put together. There's this melodic aspect to them, along with that groove and the riff driven stuff. It really makes this stand out. It's very clever in the composition. I enjoyed it quite a lot. The flow of the album, I think Belle mentioned it too. It really flies by. It's one of those albums that just begs for a repeat spin after you're done with it. I can't wait to hear some of these tracks live. I reckon they're going to go fucking off. The way it shifts gears is fantastic, and when it kicks things up, it really goes up a notch. One More for the Road is a massive standout on this album for me. It's probably as close to a ballad as they've ever gone. They absolutely nailed the sort of slow burn, gut punch aspect of that one. They're The solo is a moment on this record, and then there's the loss. That instrumental right before the final stretch is a great touch on the album as well. Then for me, you've got Dysomnia. That just erupts when it comes on. Like, what the fuck? It finishes at strong. That riff for me, and it's maybe not the world's most original riff, but the way this thing sounds and feels and chugs along, it's a contender for riff of the year for me already. I fucking love it. It gave me that thing Dave made, the same note, the thing that shouldn't be. It absolutely crushes in that sort of same feel and vibe. It's absolutely huge on this record. The album doesn't let up at all. It finishes as strong as it starts. Honestly, we're lucky to have bands of this caliber in this country, literally in our backyard.
Indeed.
This is shaping up to be another massive year, especially on the Australian front. I'm glad that we've tweaked the Backyard Banger segment to go down this path as the year has gone on.
Yes.
This is one of the best metal releases already of 2025, as far as I'm concerned. It's going to be up there in the top 10s. There was an old gag when Dennis was on the show, because he would play with these guys with Espionage and whatever else, and he would call Hidden Intent Hiding Intent because that was their whole, in the scene nickname, Hiding Intents. The band are no longer Hiding Intents. Hidden Intent are marching straight to the top with this, as far as I'm concerned. 9 shots for me. Standouts are The Ruins, One More for the Road, and Dysomnia. Like everyone else, this is fantastic. So please, folks, if you haven't, get around it, because obviously if we all like it, you're going to like it too. So get around it. All right, what do we got here? Michael's here. Hi, boys and girls. Good to see you. Man. Hopefully you're keeping well. Craig's here. Hidden Intent, 8 shots. Nice. Vinny says, hang on. Vinny says, I think it means an unexpected explosion in your face, Bell. Craig's gone, use your imagination, Bell. Vinny says, goes well with pineapple juice. Cat's having a laugh. Craig says, well, face. Don't you mean faces in general? Oh, my goodness. Here we go. This is getting oddly specific. Cat says,
so
maybe you can put one in your video, Vinny, to show us. There we go.
Yes, Vinny.
No. To yourself.
I emphatically emphasize my punctuation is what Vinny has replied to with that one. So have at it, folks. But Michael, back on point, has gone Hidden Intent 8 shots. So it's getting a lot of love all around. So if you haven't already, like I said before, please do go and check it out. Time for the next segment of the show, though. This is Fretboard Feud. This is where we go through and have a little play on things, where we pick different things for different categories, and then we get the audience to vote on things and see which of us gets the most popular choice out of it all. The theme this little season is 1985 albums, but we're going through month by month. We've done January, February, and March last time around, so we're going to quickly recap March and we're up to. Then we're going to pick albums from April 1985. So last time we were out, Jeff went first and took Hoodoo Guru's Mars Needs Guitars. Dave had Bon Jovi 7800 Degrees Fahrenheit. Bell took the Sisters of Mercy with First and Last and Always. And I went last time around with Michael Bolton, Everybody's Crazy. Interesting results this time around. So before we got to that point, Bell was on 80 points. I was on 80 points. Dave and Jeff both split on 60 points. So it was pretty close at that point in time. After this round, what do we got here? So I got 20 points for Michael Bolton. So I came in last in this one. Dave got 30 points. So he came in third on this one for Bon Jovi. Jeff got second with Hoodoo Gurus. Bell with Sisters of Mercy took the top spot on this one, added 50 points to her total, which we're all still pretty close, but they're starting to get a bit of a spread now happening. So Dave's on 90 points. I'm on 100, same with Jeff. And Bell is now out in front on 130 points. But there's still a ways to go, so we'll see how the rest of this plays out. There's plenty of time to play this out yet, but that's where things stand at the moment. So as we do these little games, whoever goes last the last time around gets to go first in the new round. And as excuse me, as it was my turn to go last, I go first this time around, and it's April 1985 we're going to go to. Sorry, excuse me for a second.
Have a drink.
You know when your throat just suddenly dries up on you for no fucking reason?
Yes.
It's like, what the hell?
There is a reason. Let me explain it to you.
I don't know, but I don't want to come punch to fix it.
That was the reason. That was it. Yeah.
But anyway, there's a lot of albums on this list from 1985. I've gone through and compiled a big list for everyone to go through. But I get to go first. And for me, there's one pretty clear standout that I'm hoping gets me some votes to try and get me back in the running of things. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to take the one and only Slayer, Hell Awaits. I'm going to take that one and take it off the board. First pick, off I go. Which there goes that one.
There goes that.
I don't think I'm going to be, the most original person in that regard. I think we all had earmarked that one when we saw it. But anyway, Jeff, you get the next call. Over to you.
Yeah, look, this is a no-brainer for me as well. Based on the list, there was some interesting stuff that came out in April of 1985, but none so more interesting than the I guess the Bay Area released an album, and that was a band that a certain guitar player had recently left. Well, a little before that, but this was their first big time album, and that's Exodus, Bonded by Blood. So this is a classic metal album from this band, considered by many to be maybe their best, and it's certainly their most influential album that they ever did. So yeah, Bonded by Blood. Write it down.
Nice. Cool. Moving on, Dave gets the next pick. So what are you taking at third this time around?
Yeah. On the rest of them, I haven't heard any of them. So I'm just going to go with a name. I'll go Freddie Mercury, Mr. Bad Guy, solo album, which I've never actually heard, but I'm sure it's good.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's Freddie Mercury. You can't really go that wrong, can you, seriously?
Exactly.
All right. No, but I figured that choice was coming, which means, Belle, you get to go first next week, but for now, you get the last choice this time
That's
around.
cool. Yeah, look, the only one I knew, like, that I heard was obviously, well, it was Slayer, Hell Awaits. So, but I figured I wasn't going to get that after, being last. I'm like, that's not going to be sitting there. No, thanks. It's all good. I've got one, knowing that wasn't going to be available. So what I did was the same as last week, and I sort of listened to a few albums, starting with bands that I'd actually heard of, and Sabotage were one of them. I thought they might have gone, actually. I thought maybe, I don't know why, but I thought maybe Jeff would have taken them.
They were on my short list, but not for that album. No,
okay.
No.
Not a good one? All right.
Not
well,
that one.
Yeah, Trouble was another one that, I don't know why, but it sounded familiar as a band.
Yeah, she's trying to jump all over the keyboard, which is helpful.
Oh, is that Jelly or Bean?
That's Jelly. Yeah.
Okay. Geez, they're getting big.
Yeah, they are.
Gosh.
Bean's bigger than her, like by a
really?
lot. Yeah.
Is Bean the boy and Jelly's the girl?
Bean's the boy.
Yeah,
Jelly's the girl.
Boys, they're usually bigger. Yep. Oh my god. Now that's Trouble.
Yes.
Right there.
When they're bouncing around near the computer, that's not a good sign.
No.
You're usually in trouble.
No, they're not bouncing around near the computer. They're sitting on your keyboard, so you can't do anything. Yeah. Yeah, it must be nice and warm, or just they know that you need it. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go with Trouble because I thought it was cool. Like I ended up listening to, I don't know. This was supposed to be last week. I think, I don't know. It just had a cool throwback sound to the 70s. Okay. Vocals are a bit kind of, but it had that kind of rawness that you got from like an early 80s sort of album, well, mid 80s, but their second album. That was cool. I liked it. So yeah. And then I was sort of reading through, we're talking about bios and not, just having nothing in there. The bio was ridiculously long and detailed. It was like a freaking Wikipedia page. Nice. So, we're complaining about not enough info. There was too much info in there. Like, come on. I've read half and like, I don't need to know the fucking details. So I did read, though, that their original singer, died in 2021 from COVID complications. Oh, wow. So that was pretty sad.
It's a shame.
Yeah. Anyway, so Big Trouble. The Skull is what the album's called.
Cool. Yeah. Well, a quick little recap then. So for this round, I have Slayer, Hell Awaits, Jeff has Exodus, Bonded by Blood, Dave has Freddie Mercury, Mr. Bad Guy, and Belle has chosen Trouble with the Skull. There we go. Alrighty. So Craig says, the video has been promising for months. Yeah, that one there. Michael says, we are taking your word about pineapple juice. You seem to have the experience to comment. Maybe he's waiting for the pineapple seeds before he shoots that video, Craig. Oh my God, it's going off now. Then he says, it's coming, Craig. The video, I'm looking for one specific costume. Here we go, folks.
Oh,
Kat says, that was goody. I thought I blinked and missed it. No, you haven't missed anything. Vinny says, it's not good, Dave. Not good at all. Laughing at Kat. And Guru's here. Good to see you. Rocking
Hey!
the plane. And he's gone, Jeff, congrats with the Oilers win. Yeah, good way to start.
Yes. Wearing the hat.
For you. Yep. All righty. Now it is time for something completely different, as we do every week. We play a little bit of a game. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen next? Because basically I throw it open to the co-hosts here to say, do what you want and see how we go. So, Belle, what have you got in store for us this week? And what are you putting us up against? What are you making us do?
What we got?
All right. I haven't done this one before.
Ooh.
It could go really well or it could go really badly.
Either way to be entertaining.
Yep, either way, it'll be fun, I hope, and we'll find out if I should do it again or just never do it again.
Yep.
The thing with this is there's no predetermined answers, like you know how we. So it could just completely flop. Now, what I thought I would do, I was thinking about games, and in games like board games, like what board game can I? Because I think I did charades. I think that's really a board game, but it's kind of a group game. Mm-hmm. So I thought I would try to tweak the game. Scattergrees. Has everyone played Scattergrees before?
Yes, I have. One of my
favorite. Do you know
not a long time, but yeah. Yep.
Okay, so you had there's this weird looking die. Yep. I'm just gonna call it dice. And it's a die. It's a die. I'm sorry. Well, it's got a lot of letters in it. Not all of them. You know, the really tricky ones like Q and Z and X kind of thing. They're not on there, I don't think. Yep. And then you had like a list of 12, like on a card. Everyone had the same list of categories, and whatever letter came up, you had to write. So that would be completely boring to do, like on the live stream. It's like, okay, how can I tweak this? So what I've done is come up with 10 categories. This needs to be rolled, and I guess whoever thinks of the first one just kind of you know, whatever, sings out, raises the horn, sings it out. Was that going to work, do you think?
Yeah, we'll do that. I reckon it sounds good. Raise the horns. There we go.
The point goes to that person if they can come up with something that is.
For those watching at home who don't know how Scattergrees is, explain it.
I just did.
Yeah.
Didn't I?
I thought so.
Okay, so I don't have the kit here, but there's a card. So in the normal game of there's a card with a list of categories on it.
Yeah.
And everyone has the same categories. You roll the dice. So let's say J comes up. Say the categories, name a dessert. So everyone has to come up with a dessert that starts with J, jelly. If you have the same one, you don't get a point. If you have an original one like jam, for instance, it's not really dessert, but so that's how it's played. But it's all written and there's a timer, so that wouldn't work very well in this setting. So that's why I thought, well, if you just kind of, I call out the category and you think of whatever, we can just have the same letter for all 10, or I can change it halfway through or whatever. I haven't really actually thought of that kind of detail.
Roll for each one.
Each one, you got a different letter? All right.
Category.
It'll keep it good.
So tell us the category first, then roll a letter, I reckon.
Ooh.
And then we'll go at it.
Yeah, that's fine. However you want to do it. All right. Now you're going to have to trust me with the letter. And I mean, it's just random. I haven't gone and just written down for each category. Oh, yes. You know, each letter. No.
Unlike my quote unquote predetermined random order. Yeah.
So it is what it is. If we can't think of one, we'll just, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, well,
roll again or something.
Gets first crack at it. Yeah. So I think we'll get there.
Okay, cool. All right. So the first, well, do you want me to roll first, give you a letter, and then the category? That might be.
We're still going to be on the clock either way. It's not going to make a difference, I don't think.
All right. Well, it's name a band. Okay. A band.
Cool. Yep.
All right. First letter is I.
Oh,
Dave.
Yeah.
Iron Maiden.
Yep.
Ah,
Fucking knew it
I
straight
mean,
away.
correct, but come on.
All right, I had the same one, but anyway.
I was going to take a different band, but hey, that's okay.
Was it In Flames?
No, it was Iced Earth.
Oh,
Inglorious. Now we're just going around.
Oh,
Anyway.
wow. Yeah, that's cool.
There's a few out there.
Are you keeping score or am I?
I'm keeping score. It's all good.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yep.
All right. Here's the die again. All right. Next one. Name a singer. I guess it can
Okay.
be first name or last name.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. The letter is W. Dave.
Okay.
Oh, was
Brian
it Jeff?
Dane.
Oh. Sorry.
Is it me or Jeff?
Who is it?
Oh, I don't
I
know.
didn't see.
Je-
I didn't see.
I think it was. I think it was Dave. I noticed him move first.
What? Warren Dane.
Who?
Warren Dane. Nevermore.
Oh, okay. I never
Yep.
heard of him.
Jeff, who'd you have?
William
Yeah.
Duvall.
Hey?
Who?
Duvall. That William
Oh, William
That
Duvall.
was
Yeah.
Oh, William
Yeah.
Duvall.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Next one.
All right. An 80s song title.
Ooh.
And the letter is M. Jeff.
Okay, Jeff.
Master of Puppets.
Hey.
80 songs.
Well done.
Nice.
All right. Okay. Name a guitarist. K. Andrew.
AK Downing. Come on.
Hey.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
Works. Double K.
Had to. Better than 3.
this-
So let's.
Okay. Name an album. A.
What?
A. The letter A.
Jeff got there first.
Yeah. Jeff.
Abacab from Genesis.
Wow.
Take your word for that.
Dave.
I was
What'd you
going to go
have?
Appetite for Destruction.
Yeah, that works too.
Oh, of course.
Of course, that's a good one too.
All right. So we're nearly. Are you doing 12, Bell? Is that right? Or are you doing?
I've done 10. I haven't gone,
Okay,
but
cool.
you
No,
know
that's right.
what?
So we're
We
halfway
can.
through then. That's right. So I know where
We're
we're at.
halfway
So
through. Yeah,
Yep. And it's the tie. Dave and Jeff are on 2 apiece. I've got 1. So that's where we're at the halfway mark.
Nice. All right. Okay. The next category is name a band or solo artist active in the 70s. That doesn't mean they can't be active in other decades, but they had to be active in the 70s. E.
Ooh. Yep.
Jeff.
Yep.
Eagles.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking ELO actually when I got down to it, but yeah. But I didn't get there in time. So Jeff is now in front. Da-da-da.
Okay.
Cool.
Name an Australian band
Okay.
or musician. Can we do a letter that we've done already, do you think? Or shall I try and.
Yeah, I'd see why not.
Yeah,
Well, the
that's
right.
category is different, so what's it
Yeah,
matter? Yeah.
category is different, so it's all right.
Okay. M.
Australian.
Yeah, Dave.
Dave.
Midnight Oil.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go. Well done.
Oh, okay. Good job.
All right. Number 8. Name a word associated with the rock and metal world.
Okay.
W.
There's
Oh.
so many ways this can go wrong.
Yeah.
Especially in
Anything.
tonight's
Just-
conversation. Dave, go on.
Whammy bar.
Yes.
Yay.
Well done, Dave. Well
Yep.
played.
Yeah.
Well done. Took us a second to get there, but that was fucking smart. Well done.
Oh, I should have gone wah pedal. Fuck.
It doesn't
Yeah,
matter. You
man.
got there either way, man.
Yeah.
All right. So that means it's 8. So 2 to go. Am I right, Bill?
Yes, I'm up to
All right.
9.
Cool.
Okay. Next one is name a term used in music theory. G.
Hmm.
Well, I'll take a stab.
Yeah, Jeff got there
Yeah.
first.
The key of G.
Ah,
Why not?
That's where I was
I
going.
mean-
eventually, yeah.
I'll pay that. I'll pay that. That's not bad
Yeah,
at all,
I'm
actually.
trying to think of, like
What'd you have, Dave?
Tempo terms or
G major scale or G major chord.
yeah.
Oh, yep, no,
Yeah.
cool. Well done. That works.
That works.
Which means
Does
you two are
work.
tied again. So next
Uh-oh.
one wins.
Well, potentially.
All right. Okay. The last one is name an album the four of us have reviewed over the last 2 years.
Ooh.
Shit.
A.
That's fucked.
Dave?
All right, Dave.
Dave.
AC/DC, Black and Black.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I suppose an album, I would say the name of an album would be.
Ah, fuck.
All
No,
right.
that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to be harsh here because it's.
Okay. Name an album starting with A that we've reviewed in the last couple of years. I'm
You're
going to
still
sit
in,
out
Dave.
because I
You're
want you
still
guys
in.
to
You're
have a
still in.
winner. So I'm going to sit out. I'll tell you if you're correct or not.
Album starts with A.
We could come up with another tiebreaker if you want to. If you've got one, Andrew.
Jolie, that's a band name, not an album name. Jolie put a blaze in there. It's got to be an album title. I reckon if we're really stumped, re-roll the letter, keep the category. I think the category.
I've thought of
fine.
one. I've thought
Okay.
of one. Yeah, there's
If we move
definitely one at least. So.
Yep. If we move on.
Oh no, that starts with T.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
well,
right.
rewrote. A's are such a weird letter.
All right.
It's hard, isn't it? But something.
Yeah. All right. Well, re-roll then. Let's move on. Let's do a re-roll.
Yeah.
Re-roll.
All
Yep.
right. F.
Fucked.
Album title. Something F. That we reviewed.
Because this is a tough one because there may not be an album title.
Yeah.
There may not be. Yeah. We'll just keep rolling till.
Yeah, keep rolling until we get a letter that works.
Yeah.
Give it another few seconds and then we'll just re-roll because it's going to be too hard to sit here and think for too long. So
I'll try and think as well.
F's jumping me too, to be honest. I'm sitting there going, hang on. I'm not thinking of anything that comes to mind. Think about your top 10s over the last 2 years. That's going to be your best bet to get things moving. So think about your top 10s, but that's probably
yes. Okay. There's definitely an F1. Oh, have
Okay.
we reviewed it though? I don't think I was in that review.
Yeah, it's all four of us. That makes it hard because it has to be a battle.
Yeah.
No. Oh, yeah. You said all four of us. That's a tricky one.
All four of us. So it has to be a battle. Or back our band this year.
I think maybe we can reduce it from all four of us just to that we've done on the show. Maybe.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, I know
that,
that you guys have done this one.
Yep.
Album starting.
Just that we've covered on the show in some way, shape, or form, an album starting with F in the last
In
2
the
years.
last couple of years.
I'll keep the 2 years thing. That's a good
yes. Well, it came out in 2023, the one I'm thinking of. So
one. Okay.
definitely.
Oh, Thumbcock. What's it
It
called?
starts with B, and I can't remember that one.
Ah, Foregone.
All right.
Yes.
5. Sorry.
Foregone. In Flames.
There you go.
Oh, right. Okay.
Ta-da!
There
So
you go,
Dave took it. 1 point in the end was all it took to split it, but that was cool.
It
I
was.
like that.
That was fun.
actually.
It worked. I'm glad
That
it
was cool.
worked. I
Yeah.
had no idea if that was going to just
Yeah,
completely
it's always a gamble,
fail.
and it's fun, isn't it? Like that's
Yes,
half the fun.
finding
You're
out.
like, shit, is this going to work or not? But you
Yeah.
go in there like, oh, fuck.
Well, that's half the fun.
Well, that's how it all started, isn't it?
That is how it
this
started.
going
Blindly hijack.
Yes.
to?
So we've got. I thought that was good, but just to recap, there, Dave had 5 guesses, Jeff had 4, I was on 1. So there you go. You guys kick the crap out of me on these things, so that's all right. That's why I'm the host normally. That's why it works.
Hostess with the mostest. That's all.
We'll see. Rowan, I hope this was intentional. He's gone in films as opposed to in flames. Intentional. I don't know. It's a weird typo.
Right.
Craze, John Winger. I'm not going to read all these guesses out. I'm sorry, because you guys are just going to keep guessing on things, which is cool. We had some good ones in there. You got Mammal for M. You had Eddie Van Halen for artists starting with E. ELO was in there too.
Ooh.
Midnight Oil was also mentioned. Wankery when it came to fucking.
That's what I was thinking.
Which is true for us. We have used it ourselves. Michael said
yeah.
Wawa. Glace. I don't know. Vinny says that was a really good game, Bell. So there we go. More love for it.
Aw,
And Rowan
thank
says I
you.
was typing quickly. Was it one-handed? But in the context of tonight's show, anything's possible. All right, what do we got here? Sorry, I got that wrong there. Okay, so next bit now is the global groove. We have settled on global grooves for the next segment of the show, and this is where we, like the Backyard Banger, this is where we take an international release from 2025. The difference is that we go in rotating turns to pick an album to do ourselves as opposed to being assigned one like we are in Backyard Banger. What do we got here? Quickly says, Vinny says, found a pineapple. Off you go. There's always time for lubricant, Vinny. But anyway, this week's Global Groove is chosen by Jeff. So Jeff got the call this week and he chose Dream Theater with Parasomnia. It's 11 tracks for 71 minutes, the 16th studio album from the American band, released February 2025 via Inside Out Music. Produced by John Petrucci and recorded at the band's DTHQ studio with engineering by Jimmy T. Meslin and mixing mastering by Andy Sneap. The album marks the return of founding drummer Mike Portnoy for the first time since 2009. 3 singles, Night Terror, A Broken Man, and Midnight Messiah, were released ahead of the album. Thematically centered around sleep disorders and altered states of consciousness, Parasomnia closes with the nearly 20-minute track, The Shadow Man Incident. Continuing the band's tradition of long-form progressive compilations like this review is going to be, warning in advance, Jeff has chosen this to be his global groove this time around. So let's go to Jeff with your little pre-warning shot here too while we're at it.
All right. So I apologize up front to everyone who is a Dream Theater fan and those who aren't. So in when I had to, this album is a very complex album. So when I had to knew I was going to be doing it, I wanted to make sure that I scoured the internet looking for all the different I get Easter eggs, I guess is no lack of a better term, because there's a lot. And while I'm a fan, there was no fucking way I was going to get all of them. You know, I don't think any one person could really. That's what the internet's for. It's a collection, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, without further ado, here's my review. So, Dream Theater's Parasomnia delves into the intricate world of sleep and its disturbances, weaving a cohesive thematic thread throughout its tracks. Every song relates to the topic at hand. Now, the album is rich with musical motifs and lyrical nods to their past work, hence the Easter eggs that we'll get to, which is a deliberate choice by the band, especially with Mike Portnoy's return. The album concept is fitting, especially when you consider half of the band's namesake, Dream. It just makes sense that they would be going back to where it all began, as it were. So the album kicks off with, even if technically it was Majesty at the beginning, but fuck that, who cares? The album kicks off with the song In the Arms of Morpheus. And no, it's not a fucking Matrix, you know, talking about the Matrix. For anybody out there who thinks that this is what it's about, you know, fucking Lawrence Fishburne isn't going, I will love you and I'll love you and call you George.
He's going to red or blue pill you?
Yeah. That's not what this is about. Okay. This instrumental overture immediately sets a dark and unsettling tone. It opens up with atmospheric sounds, including city noising, and in the background, a ticking clock. That's important because this is signifying the transition to the world of sleep. You get eerie guitar lines and an unsettling music prelude, which draw you deeper into the album's central theme. It introduces the classic musical box motif, which is a haunting melody that recurs throughout the album, acting like connective tissue for the songs, blurring the line between the beginning and the end, and it works extremely well. The album, as I mentioned before, is chock full of Easter eggs. And as I said, while I was doing my research for this review, I came across so many, which I've included here, and I'm sure there are others out there, many more that I've probably missed. And so for that, all the Dream Theater fans and the addicts out there, Dave, please forgive me, because I wasn't able to do it. I just could. The fucking review would have been fucking 6 months long. I had to cut it down. So Portnoy's drum fills, apparently, and I got this from the internet, apparently fans have noted that Portnoy reprises some of his signature drum fills from older albums. Yes, people dig into it that deeply that they hear, oh, I know that drum pattern. And so particularly from the album A Change of Seasons, subtly hinting at his return and the band's embrace of their past. The second song, Night Terror, which is a heavy-hitting track, which was the lead single and the first song that the band actually wrote when Portnoy rejoined the band. It opens with a chilling minor key riff, which is reminiscent of the heavier moments that you'll hear on an album like Train of Thought, capturing the oppressive weight of nightmares. And yet, what is anything without balance? Well, they have perfectly balanced the aggression heard here with strong melodic chorus that just flows, which is, in my opinion, one of the more memorable choruses found anywhere on the album. It's the chorus to Night Terror. Again, Easter eggs that I found online. Train of Thought influence. The overall heavy feel and specific riffs have drawn comparisons to their 2003 album, Train of Thought, known for its darker and more aggressive sound. I, for one, have always embraced this heavier side of the band. While many fans at the time were actually turned off by it, I was always one wishing that they would delve deeper into this, and I'm happy that they've actually returned to it. You agree with that, Dave? I saw you nodding. Okay. All right. All right. Next track, number 3, A Broken Man. Now, this track actually shifts the tone to explore the fragility of the human psyche, specifically touching on sleep disturbances related to, of all things, PTS cold ideas. It begins with an explosive burst of energy. And when I first heard this song, as it was released as one of the pre-singles, Portnoy's rapid fire tom rolls that he does in this, set against a backdrop of military-esque radio chatter that you hear in the background, this whole thing actually gave me goosebumps. I remember, I think I mentioned at the time, I said, this is the best song I've heard from them released in years. I really, I felt close to it. This song features, again, one of the hardest riffs and heaviest riffs on the album. And I love this track. Once again, going back to Train of Thought, which was a big, big album for them. Number 4, Dead Asleep. This is a longer track, inspired by real-life incidences, apparently, of sleepwalking tragedies, and apparently of John Petrucci's own childhood, where he was told, but has no actual memory of, that he had recurring bouts of sleepwalking himself. And to mark one's vulnerability in the state, John opens up the intro with a deceptively serene scene and mournful chords, which evokes a personal vulnerability. This calm, of course, is then shattered by frantic, detuned riff, which mirrors chaotic or nightmare of the protagonist's dream state, the chaos of it all. And again, Easter eggs. I told you, they're fucking coming, man. Easter came early this year. Many listeners have actually commented on this particular Metropolis universe connection. The overall premise of this song, a harrowing tale, feels like another narrative from the Metropolis universe, which contributes to the idea of parasomnia being a pseudo sequel, if you will, to Scenes from a Memory. And considering this and some of the other Easter eggs that are found on the album, of this I have absolutely no doubt. Then there's track number 5, which is Midnight Messiah. This song actually offers a stark contrast, celebrating the liberation and power of lucid dreaming. And if you don't know about lucid dreaming is simply the idea of dreaming and being able to control one's dream. And a lot of people claim to be able to do it. I can't. I'm a complete prisoner to my dreams. So when I'm in a dream, I don't go, "Oh, this is a cool dream." It's just a dream for me. I'm part of it. But it's described as a dark and anthemic and noticeable, with noticeable tempo changes and strong, catchy chorus. So this song is another one of those, I guess their attempts at trying to get a song maybe on some sort of rock radio, because it doesn't have that thing. You get Jordan Rudess's lead synth. It sort of straddles the line between classical elegance and electronic ferocity. And then, of course, John Mayung's bass anchors everything down. The guy is just a beast. More Easter eggs. Lyrical self-references. Now, this is important because this song, apparently, of all the Easter eggs that I came across, this song had the most. So buckle up, Princess, because I'm going to read them out. All right. This song is particularly rich with Easter eggs, with the lyrical Easter eggs, because it contains lines that are basically word for word or heavily adapted from the Dream Theater songs, which were a deliberate choice by Portnoy. I'll read up some lyrics, like an uncanny, strange deja vu in this song, referencing the song Strange Deja Vu from Scenes from a Memory. Like a sword piercing this dying soul, referencing this dying soul from Train of Thought. Constant motion shines into the night, referencing the song Constant Motion from Systematic Chaos. It's calling me back to my home, referencing Home from Scenes from a Memory. Over and over and over again, found in from a view from the top of the world, from this, and the song The Enemy Inside as well. Dreamtime, floating cloud nine, heavenly bliss utopia, sublime, feeling so divine, just another pleasant nightmare, referencing beautiful agony in a nightmare to remember from Black Clouds and Silver Linings. Memories flashing all through my brain over and over again, parallels random blinding flashes aiming at the stage. An intro tape begins to roll, igniting sonic rage from the war inside my head. Davis, he's right ahead. He's ahead of me.
He's going off. Yep.
He's okay. Forevermore, blistering out of control, references the song Forevermore, Into the Night, blistering from the dark eternal night. Space Divest. The vocal style here, it opens up about wanting to wake up, as is noted in the song, in the style of Space Divest. I told you this shit is deep. The root of all evil, which is an actual banger on guitar. The opening riff has been compared to the song Root of All Evil, particularly with the blaring guitar riff and the snaring, the keyboard patch that Jordan does. Is it Jordan on that? Root of All Evil? Yes, it is. It is Jordan. Repentance, the drumming here. The main drumming line from 41 seconds to 101 has been observed, believe it or not, I know, to follow Repentance and other parts of the double A suite. Wow. I know, I'm sorry, but I had to do it.
No, it's just actually just how deep it goes. I didn't realize I didn't listen to it obviously as deeply, but it's just mine was I did pick up on things even as a much more casual listener than you guys, but I didn't realize it went this far.
I didn't realize it went this deep. It's odd, but that's why I was happy to do it, because it's just so much, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. So, 6, the song "Are We Dreaming?" The song "Are We Dreaming?" This is a short, haunting interlude that serves as a thematic pivot, shifting focus from dreams to regret of reality. Rudess's church organ here creates an uneasy atmosphere, punctuated by whispered voices. It's described as calm and soothing, serving its purpose well in the album's flow. Literally there for a reason. Easter eggs found here. These comforting voices, the whispered voices and keyboard chords, actually contribute to its dreamy transition nature. Perhaps a nod to the subliminal space between dreaming and waking. Number 7, Bend the Clock. Now, this album's ballad reflects on lost time and regret. It's described as a bittersweet and moody, often requiring multiple listens to fully appreciate its nuances. This is, in my opinion, the best song on the album. I can listen to the song over and over and over again, and I never get bored of it. But it's also a climbing song. And if you know what a climbing song is, Stairway to Heaven, not that it's compared to Stairway to Heaven, but that's also a climbing song. So the melody key climbs up in key, goes up and up and up, which actually helps to keep the whole song and the uplifting motif of the song going. All right, Easter eggs here. The alien. Apparently, I didn't check this out myself. I was trying to, just didn't have enough time. But apparently, the timestamp at 4:40 on this song in Bend the Clock has been noted to be identical to the song at 7 minutes and 47 seconds of The Alien, suggesting a direct musical callback. This is fucking intense. But anyway, yep. I know. I'm sorry.
No. Like I said, it's good. It's just blown away.
I did tell you it was going to be intense. They're never going to let me do a review again, guys. Anyway, the Shadow Man Incident, which is track 8. This album is the epic closer of this album, which clocks in at over 19 minutes. It explores the concept of the Shadow Man or Shadow People experienced during sleep paralysis. Now, musically, it features great riffs, an amazing chorus, and a soundscape that is wonderfully done. I believe it's another excellent album closer. The song, of course, is episodic in nature, even without individual lyric parts. Now, the Easter eggs, the Shadow People theme. The lyrical content here directly addresses the phenomenon of seeing shadowy figures during sleep paralysis, a concept new to many listeners, but apparently it's intensely personal for those who have experienced it. Now, while I myself have never experienced any shadow figures, I have indeed had a few bouts of sleep paralysis over the years. And for me, it usually feels as if like there's a massively heavy weight laying on me while I'm sleeping and I'm awake at the same time. And I feel like someone is just like sitting on my back, or if I'm, usually happens when I kind of sleep on my stomach a lot. So like someone is literally sleeping and I'm literally being pushed down into the bed. So I'm aware of it, and but I can't move. And so it's not a good feeling. It's something that I don't really want to experience, but I know, and at least I can remember having it multiple times. So I probably will have it again at some point. Who knows?
Hopefully not.
But I hope not. But musical nods to past works. So reviewers have identified nods to The Astonishing, Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory, and In the Presence of Enemies, demonstrating the band's referential approach. The song, or I should say the words "Wake Up" dialogue that you hear at 1928. The song notably ends with the sound of an alarm, and an ominous voice is whispering, "Wake up," at precisely 1928. This is no doubt a direct nod to Scene 2, the overture of 1928 from Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory. However, Mike Portnoy's fingerprints are all over this. Many attribute this precise timing to Mike Portnoy's for his meticulous attention to detail and hidden references. There's a Call of Cthulhu reference here as well. The year is 1928, is the publishing year of H.P. Lovecraft's famous short story, The Call of Cthulhu, which deals with themes of cosmic horror, madness, and disturbing realities. Fitting that the album's overall dark and unsettling atmosphere would fit in with that perfectly. This connects the album to a broader literary influence. And the bridge, there's a thing here called Portnoy's Bridge in this song, and Portnoy is actually confirmed, apparently, that the bridge part of this song is actually about his return to the band, adding a deep and personal layer to this epic song. And there's also, believe it or not, there's a Metropolis Part 3 hint here. Numerous musical and lyrical callbacks throughout Parasomnia have actually led some fans to speculate whether the album is a pseudo-Metropolis sequel, or that it takes place within the same universe without actually or explicitly being tied to Metropolis Part 3. allowing for a more subtle connection. Overall, yes, guys, I'm done. Overall, this is an amazing album. It's easily one of their best, and certainly their best album, in my opinion, since Black Clouds and Silver Linings. And that's not a jab at Mangini's tenure at all, not in the slightest. I loved his input into the band. And for keeping the band together and going for the last 12 years without Portnoy was an amazing feat. And all of us who love this band owe him a massive debt of gratitude that we'll probably never be able to repay him. Otherwise, buy his new album when it comes out. Parasomnia is above all a love letter to Dream Theater fans. It's filled with nostalgic musical and lyrical callbacks that celebrate their extensive discography while exploring a compelling new and yet familiar thematic concept, dreams. Given the quality and complexity and overall enjoyment that I get listening to this album, how could I not give this album 10 shots?
Yeah, fair enough. Well done. Like, genuinely,
Yes.
that's a fucking lot of work, and well done, man.
Well
Credit
done.
where due. That was
Thanks, guys.
epic.
That was great.
Epic. That was very detailed, and I really do appreciate the effort you put into that one. So, no, genuinely, thank you for that. That was cool, and opened my eyes to a lot of what's going on in there too. But I'm going to throw to Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to throw to Dave next because I'm sure he'll have some additions to this little treatise as well.
Yeah,
Treatise.
Dream Theater. I've never heard of this band. Based off the album, I think they've got a great future.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty good. Okay. In all seriousness, obviously, Dream Theater has been a massive favorite band for me for the last 25 years. And I still can't believe that number because they seem like a new band for me. They're not part of the group that I grew up listening to. Nothing to do with anything in high school. They're like, it's a whole new thing. It's amazing watching this band work hard and forge their own path against popular trends and everything that's happened. And just seeing their fan base get bigger and bigger and seeing people get into this world. First album with Portnoy back, 40th anniversary. It's Dream Theater. They always set the bar high, so this album had to be good. And it is. As a longtime fan, this album just simply makes me happy. I'm not going to do a 10-minute essay. I don't need to. Jeff did a fantastic job with that. If you're a Dream Theater fan, you're going to love this album. You've never heard them before. This is a fantastic start. For years, I heard people criticize this band for not having feel. They're too technical. Well, this album certainly shows they have feel. They have fucking feel in spades, man. The emotive weight in the song Bend the Clock alone shows that. Vocal performance, the lyrics, the performance of all instruments, but especially that guitar solo. That is a fucking amazing guitar solo. It's very comfortably numb inspired, but also very Dream Theater. The phrasing, the notes left to ring, and then the shredding. It builds and continues to tell the story that it takes over from James's vocals. Perfect solo. I was wishing for years that somebody would do a solo like this, even as a kid starting to get into the shred theory and also being a massive Pink Floyd fan. You got the phrasing that David Gilmour does, that emotive weight in the bend and just letting the note ring. And you got the technical stuff that the guitar virtuosos do. You can have both, but nobody's actually done it until Petrucci fucking nailed it with this. You can have those moments of shred, just controlled bursts, and then just leave notes to ring. You can also get that same out of those little bursts of shred. It's amazing. Shadow Man Incident. When I first listened to this album, I had a few songs. I'm like, okay, this is my band. I'm going to fucking isolate myself. I locked myself in the bedroom, left the light off. The sun was going down, so by the time the album ended, I was in just pitch blackness. I'm lying on the bed, got my eyes closed, got my earbuds in, and this song comes on. And Jeff didn't pick up on this Easter egg, but I might be completely wrong. But when the song starts, it put me straight in mind of When Day and Dream Unite. And then there's a switch in tone. And then suddenly you're in images and words territory. Then it shifts again. You're in awake territory. Then again, change of season. And it kind of goes through all these sections of Dream Theater history until you get that Metropolis March, that fucking riff that we all know. Now we're in Scenes from a Memory, which kind of ties in with everything. And then it just continues on for the song. I'm like, holy shit, they're actually going to go through their entire thing. But no, they kind of stopped there. But maybe I'm just nuts. But I heard like a tonal shift in all like patches in the keys and the guitar setup and everything. It's just like a Dream Theater history. Jeff went over the whole little wake up part at 1928. That was a cool little nod because leading into this, everyone knew that they got 40th anniversaries. You're going to have the touches on their previous albums. That's what this band does. They do it live, they do it in the albums, they're just part of what they do. And then you had the whole, is it going to be a Metropolis sequel? So that's kind of embedded in this. So they give everyone what they want and doing their own thing. Musically, in the middle of this song, this just made me fucking smother. But about 12 minutes 20, there's a particular part where there's a guitar riff that comes in with the keys over what they do. And then there's this guitar run. And it goes back to the keyboard run. And then the guitar run extends. And it goes back to the keys. And the guitar run gets longer. Then the fucking drums come in. And when those four guys just lock in playing, it's like, yes, you guys are back. And that is what I love hearing about this band. Nobody else is even close to performing like these four guys do when they're together. But from about 12 minutes 20 on, that whole section for the next minute and a half, that is Dream Theater. That is what I love about this fucking band. It's so cool. And yeah, just remember that whole, oh my God, my eyes open, like, fuck yeah, go guys, yes. Yeah, that was a cool moment. But yeah, I give this 9 out of 10. Night Terrors, Dead Asleep, Bend the Clock, and Shadow Man Incident. Dream Theater fucking rule.
Nice. That was another a nice little addition or addendum to Jeff's review there. So well done. Thank you for that. All right, Bill, you and I get to follow these guys. What have you got to add? If anything,
no, look, that was awesome, both of you. Yeah. That was cool. I'm not gonna go detail about the album because it's been done. But I will say though that this is my first Dream Theater album, new Dream Theater album, I should say, as a new Dream Theater fan. So that's been pretty exciting. You know, the whole, like, a band you like and new albums coming out that kind of build the anticipation and then the payoff, and you're either disappointed or you get what you hope for, or those hopes are exceeded. And in this case, they were definitely exceeded. So I was, really, because it's still a new world to me. And so I think maybe it was probably it helped connect to me, this album connect to me, because it was a bit sort of dark and creepy and, you know, for Dream Theater. And, you know, I like that kind of thing. So that really helped kind of me appreciate this album. I mean, obviously, like, it's technically brilliant. It's musically brilliant. Like, I appreciate that now about Dream Theater, whereas I thought it was just pure wankery. But, like, you know, we all know the story. Well, the four of us know, and most people who've watched for a while. But yeah, I really appreciate their musicianship. So to have that, as well as the kind of darkness that they bring to this entire album, is just so cool. I really, really love it. So I think Night Terror alone is just a masterpiece. And even if the rest of the album wasn't that good, it's still, like, that song alone would be an album, top 10 album contender. Like, it's just that good. I love it. So anyway, I just thought it was great. It's great.
Nice.
You gonna give it any score?
Do I have to give it a score? Yeah. I'll give it a 9.
Yeah,
I really liked it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
To close this out, you know, obviously I'm not going to be the guy that goes as in-depth as has been done here. I don't think I'd add anything interesting to that regardless, but I am that guy that Dave has been talking about, listening to someone else talk about this band having no feel. I am him. So you can blame me for that one, because that's where Dave and I have gone back and forth on this for years and years and years now. But for my notes on this one, though, I'm glad Jeff chose this one, because Parasomnia has honestly taken me by surprise in the best possible way. Long-time viewers, and Dave in particular, know that my criticisms of this band have been consistent all the way through. Might subvert that a little bit. Dream Theater have always had that sort of larger-than-life theatrical quality to their music, and this one feels like the perfect blend of a concept album and a stage production at the same time for me personally. Listen to it. From the very first track, you can hear that signature technical mastery on full display. But what really impressed me was how much feel and warmth there is woven into that.
Shit. I fall off my chair on purpose.
I know, Dave, and you're sober this time too. Like, I wanted you to get that moment, because that struck me hard on this record. For me, this is the most organic they've sounded in a long, long time. The production plays a huge role in that, which is great. It's clean, but it's not clinical at all. It's organic. There's space in the mix. There's an earthiness to this one that makes the performances feel more alive to me personally. This is probably the best they've sounded in a while for me. The guitar tones are gorgeous. The solos have feel and emotional depth. Bend the Clock being case in point, where Dave mentioned that you can clearly hear a nod to Pink Floyd in there. That Gilmour-esque moment, I loved that. Dave knows how big of a fan I am of Dave Gilmour, and hearing that tone and feel creep into Dream Theater, I was like, oh my God. Like that blew my mind. I was sitting there going, fuck, yeah, give me more of that, please. Even the heaviest moments on this album still swing with groove and purpose all the way through. The compositions are still full of wild twists and technical fireworks, but nothing feels crammed in for the sake of it. Everything serves the storytelling, and that makes a massive difference for me as a listener on this band. I've been hit and miss with these guys for a long time. This might have finally fucking sold me.
That's nice.
I was also struck by how well the album flows as a complete piece. The gear shifts, the use of recurring motifs, the clever push and pull between guitars and synth, for example, on this one, but also the way the rhythm section supports and accents the drama here. It's cohesive without ever getting predictable. And like I said, mine's more brush strokes on this than the details been given, but I'm hoping this gives a different perspective on the album overall from people that aren't quite as emotionally invested in what this band does. James Labrie on this album shines for me too. Vocally and lyrically, his delivery brings the narrative here to life. The lyrics have weight without leaning too hard into abstraction. There's real emotion in the storytelling here as well, and it makes the whole album more engaging for me, the listener. One of my favorite things is how the album opens and closes with subtle references to scenes from memory. This is about the only Easter egg I'm going to get out of this one compared to you guys, but I did feel that at the beginning and the end of the record. Not in a derivative way, but it's a respectful echo that ties this album into their wider legacy. That was the feeling I got as a much more casual listener than the other two here. Those little Easter eggs, plus the Foley work and ambient touches, scattered throughout, make this feel like a truly immersive experience when you go through the album. As someone who's admired their musicianship but hasn't always connected with every release on this one, this hit me different. It's still classic Dream Theater, I feel, especially with Mike Portnoy back in the band in terms of, complexity and ambition, but with a level of heart and accessibility that I wasn't expecting. I think for me, Dave made a good point that this, if you haven't, checked out this band, this is a great place to start. I wholeheartedly agree. I think this is an album that can hook people that aren't normally fans of this band. It might alienate some existing fans because of that, but for me, I think it's a great gateway entry point to this band. Long-time listeners, I think, on the flip side, while it might alienate some, I think there's still enough layers in this one to really hook the long-time. Obviously, with what you two have said about it, I've got a good point there. But for everyone who's struggled to get into this band before, this might be the best entry point for me that they've put out in years. This is impressive, like really impressive. They sound reinvigorated to me, and the end result is one of their strongest albums in quite some time, as far as I'm concerned. So echoing the sentiment here, I'm giving this one 9 shots. It's not quite a 10-shot album for me, but 9 shots for me, which is, I think Dave knows, quite up there for me when it comes to this band. Standouts for me were Night Terror, Dead Asleep, and Midnight Messiah were my standouts on this one. So there we go. We did get some interesting feedback in the comments, though, which I'm going to quickly go through. Before that, Jolie said bravo, Jeff, as well, which we should all give Jeff a massive credit again for that. Fucking
everyone, Dave,
that was great.
Bell, everyone, yourself. Look,
it's so good.
Everyone contributed, so that's all that matters.
No, it's all fun. But I did preface there was some mixed feedback. So starting that off, Craig says Parasomnia has one great song in it, Bend the Clock. Portnoy's return has zero influence on the mostly shit boring songs. So that's from Craig. just a counterpoint we've said here. Here we go. The Rowan says, I bought this album but haven't had a chance to listen to it more than once or twice, so I don't know what to think about it yet. First impression was at least good. And on the lucid dreaming stuff that Jeff was mentioning is on RE Lucid Dreaming. See also Queensryche Silent Lucidity. Good point there as well. Good point. Man Family here. Good to see you. He's gone great reviews, all expanded and well articulated by Jeff, which we all have.
Thank you.
Definitely gone there. But he's also, for the soccer fans out there, Socceroos 0, Japan 0, halftime. Nicely done. Thank you for that. Edge Crusher, good to see you as well. They've gone, I am so biased. I love this album to death by Dream Theater. Awesome review, Jeff. 10 shots. So there we go. That's from Edge Crusher. He's gone, love everyone's review. So there we go. Thank you for the kind words.
Thank you.
And Rowan said, glad it's a solid release, and Portnoy's return gives me hope of a Skid Row reunion one day. Well, you never say never, but I think that's the one that's as close.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen either, personally. But you never say never. But yeah, odds are very, very thin on that one. Alrighty. That's the hard part done. Next week, we have to make the announcement of who's got the album next week. So next week, I've got the call, and so you're all in for a treat, hopefully, because I'm going to pay a little bit of homage to an old member of the show here, Wayne, because I'm going to pick the album that Tremonti put out this year, which is The End Will Show Us How. That is going to be what you're going to be all having a listening to over the next week ahead. That's my choice. Belle's already like, oh my God. Okay, I'm not.
I've heard it. It's okay. I've heard it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sure it's good.
Well, that's all right. And next week's Backyard Banger. I didn't cover this earlier on, but Jeff has the call next week, and it's Binary Pulse with Under Granite Skies. That's next week's Backyard Banger as well.
All right,
Michael said, striking good balance for Backyard Bangers, Global Grooves. Well done. I'm glad that that's resonating for you guys, because we're trying to tweak the format this year, and it looks like it's balancing out pretty well.
I think we're winning,
I'm glad that everyone's enjoying what we're doing with this sort of how we shifted it. So thank you for that, Michael. I appreciate the feedback on that front as well. Hopefully everyone else out there is enjoying it the same way. We have one more bit of business to get through tonight, and that is to close out this season of King of the Riff. We have 3 rounds to do. We shouldn't need to take too long with this, hopefully, because we've done these albums, all of them before. It's just time to go through and pick our winners to go through the finale. Then I'm going to go through the audience results, and I'll come back to us to do the final winner for us and see if it matches what the audience have chosen as well. There's a long story so far. I'll get to that in a minute, but the first round for this week is going to be Def Leppard Hysteria going up against AC/DC Back in Black. You know the bands, you know the albums, you know the songs. Don't need to do too much here. So 2 of the biggest albums in rock history going head-to-head here, and also 2 of Mutt Lange's greatest productions. Face off against each other with a spot in the finale on the line here. First up, Back in Black from AC/DC, the 1980 juggernaut that wasn't just a comeback after losing Bon Scott. It became one of the biggest selling albums of all time, with anthems like You Shook Me All Night Long, Hell's Bells, and the title track. It's raw, riff-driven, and built on pure power. On the other side of the ring here, we have Hysteria from Def Leppard, released in 87, a masterclass in arena rock perfection, overcoming incredible adversity. They crafted a record packed with hits, Pour Some Sugar on Me, Love Bites, Animal, Rocket, layered, polished, and massive in sound. Both albums helped redefine rock in their individual eras, both albums shaped by the genius of Mutt Lange. It's raw power versus studio perfection, resilience versus reinvention, Back in Black or Hysteria. One will move on to the finale. So first up, I'm going to throw to Belle.
I thought that was your review. I thought that was your point.
No. That's the preamble, man. That's setting the tone.
That's setting the tone, man. Laying the foundation.
Like seriously, that's kind of arguments for and against, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well done.
I wrote another 10-page review for this guy, so I hope you know. Yeah.
No, I didn't.
I did write something, but not 10 pages.
Yeah. Anyway, Belle,
I just got a couple of things. Look, these are 2 albums that fucking hell, like if you haven't heard them, and they're 2 albums that I loved to death in my teenage years. I fucking loved both of them and played them both to death. So in that context, it's really hard to choose. So I had to kind of, as we do, you have to find an angle when you do love both albums. So for me, what it came down to was songwriting. I think if you strip back the sound of Hysteria, like all the production and everything that went on top of it to make it sound how it does, and we love that about it. I think if you strip that back and just kind of, I mean, there's some good solid songs in there, but I think overall, I think there are more, like Back in Black is definitely a more organic sounding album. It's raw. It's, for AC/DC, it sounded different to what they'd done before, not just because of the singer, but it was a different sounding album, but it was still guitar, drums, bass, vocals. Like it's very organic. Hysteria had so much going on around all of that. So I think, and I think I like more songs on Back in Black than I do on Hysteria, production or otherwise. So I'm going to go with Back in Black for my choice.
Nice.
For those reasons. Yep.
One down. Next up is Jeff. Which way do you go?
All right. Get ready, folks. Here it comes. All right. So rock rock history is built not just on riffs and records, but on resilience. And few stories embody that better than the past of AC/DC and Def Leppard. When AC/DC lost frontman Bon Scott in 1980 rather, many believed that it was the end. Scott's raspy voice and untamed energy had become the band's soul. But instead of folding, they found strength in grief. Recruiting Brian Johnson, they roared back with Back in Black, not only as a tribute to Bon, which would become one of the highest selling albums of all time. It was the ultimate act of defiance, grief met with greatness. Then there's Rick Allen of Def Leppard, who in 1984 loses his left arm in a car accident at just 21 years old. Most would have walked away. Luckily, he still had legs, so he could have. No one who would ever imagine, no one could ever imagine that a one-armed drummer would be powering a stadium rock band. But Rick refused to quit. He learned that crafting using a custom electronic drum kit, and he returned, he relearned everything. He returned stronger than ever, helping to drive Hysteria to global success. These aren't just rock legends, they're testaments to the human endurance. When fate struck with tragedy, they answered with triumph. Is it just coincidence that both albums rebounded back to come up with the biggest selling albums of their entire career? The fighting spirit to carry on says a lot about these bands, but it also says a lot about us, because everyone loves a success story, and especially one that's born out of extreme tragedy. That's the human experience. And here it is personified and exemplified in two of the best albums ever made. Replacing a successful singer with another successful singer is an amazing feat in itself, but it's been done a million times before. Nobody, and I mean nobody, had ever had a drummer lose an arm and found a way to continue on with that drummer to become bigger and more successful than ever, which is why Def Leppard for me gets my vote.
Cool. Nicely done. A very good finishing point there. I appreciate that. That was cool. I'll go next. Dave can go last in this round. One of the funniest things for me on this one, being an absolute, production fuckwit, this is like the ultimate Mutt Langoff as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, how good to be part of not only one, but two of the all-time greatest albums. And this is the producer that put them both together. Two very different albums, though. Both blitzed the charts, both made massive sales, both were monster hits. Def Leppard had more singles. Does that matter, though, at the end of the day? Both aren't one-trick ponies either, though. Both show more depth than you may expect if you've only ever, for whatever reason, checked out the main songs on these albums. There's a lot more to explore, so I encourage you to go and listen to the full albums from beginning to end. Both have all-timers on them. They're both all-timer records. Like, they're both worthy of being here and taking the crown overall. Both are monumental comebacks after different kinds of tragedy. And like Jeff said, they're testament both to the spirit of each band to continue into the spirit of humanity in that regard. How different would music history be without these two albums? This, is a tough one, but in the end, not necessarily the harder of the two battles for me, believe it or not. My winner is AC/DC Back in Black. It's just got more bite. While Def Leppard is crisp, clean, beautifully polished, and it does feel in contrast a bit too focused on radio, which is fine. It was intended. It's a good thing. But for me, the grit that AC/DC showed and how they managed to somehow go up a notch after such a monumental loss, for me, it just bites and snarls its way through and seduces you on the way as well. So for me, AC/DC gets the nod, which means Dave has the final word and the final vote here, which you decide. Are you muted?
He bullshitting. He's shitting us, isn't he?
He's muted.
You're muted.
I can't unmute you.
There we go. Sorry.
There we go.
I had the heater on, and I forgot that I muted myself. Plus, Jeff was talking Dream Theater. I didn't want to interrupt, so...
No, well played.
Wow. That's okay. That's
okay. Yeah, I love both these albums, and I've heard them millions of times. I listened to them since I was a little kid. But there's always been one that I've loved every song, where the other one I can skip a couple of. So I'm going Back in Black with AC/DC because I think that album from start to finish is perfect. Whereas Hysteria has a couple of okay songs, but yeah, definitely AC/DC.
Nice. Cool. So there we go. That means that for us, AC/DC goes through regardless of what happens next. So AC/DC are in the finale, folks. We'll move on to the next round and then give everyone a chance to compose their thoughts for the finale as we go through things. So the next round for us is Rammstein Untitled versus Iron Maiden Brave New World. Now, Belle, this is the preamble, so don't get too excited.
There's another one.
This whole season's been a battle about comeback albums. This has two bands, two different eras, two huge statements, and the winner goes and punches the ticket to the finale. First up, Brave New World from Iron Maiden, released in 2000. This was the return that fans have been dreaming of since Bruce Dickinson, Adrian Smith coming back in the band. Maiden recharged, ready to reassert their dominance with tracks like Wicker Man, Ghost of the Navigator, and the epic Blood Brothers. Brave New World proved the legends could not only come back, they could evolve. Facing them on this side, though, is Untitled from Rammstein, obviously just normally called Rammstein, unleashed in 2019 after a 10-year studio silence. No title, no frills, just crushing, mature, and fiercely modern record. Songs like Deutschland, Radio, and Puppe showed a band not chasing their past, but rewriting it, delivering one of their most successful and talked about comebacks of the decade. Both albums marked a rebirth. Both reminded the world why these bands mattered in the triumphant return of the metal legends versus the reawakening of Germany's industrial giants. Only one can go through, Brave New World or Untitled. Which one goes on? First up this time around, though, is going to be Jeff. Which way are you going?
Well, this is an interesting battle because, both albums are great. They truly are both great. But I think the palpable excitement that existed when Bruce and Adrian rejoined Maiden was a collective shout heard around the world by every metal fan who ever lived or dared to call himself a metal fan. And so I think that is got to be worth something. And they have just went up and up and up and up and up every fucking album since then. It's just been an amazing. So yeah, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's Maiden all the way.
Nicely done. That's one down. I'm going to go next on this one and then pass the baton beyond that one. This for me is fucking nightmare fuel. I love both these albums. I was the one who put Rammstein in, for example. So, it's fucking crazy. I still remember hearing about both of these at their respective times and how happy I was not only to hear the news, but also to get the result. Like, so many of these things don't live up to the hype. Both of these albums really fucking did. In a lot of respects, that makes this battle even harder for me personally. I love both of these albums to death and will quite happily play them both multiple times a day after going through them for weeks on end as part of this process. I'm never tired of these ones. In so many respects, you could basically toss a coin and I'll be exceptionally happy. That said, like Bell did earlier on with the last round, you have to find a way to make this sort of land for you. And this was hard. I'm still torn by this, but it's the nature of the beast in this sort of game. One was a triumphant comeback and a welcome home. This is that whole thing that Jeff mentioned with Brave New World. The other was much more visceral, dark, and had the feeling of if they were going to go out, they were going to go out with a bang or go out in flames or whatever else. They weren't going to leave the stadium wondering what could happen next. Both albums too, for the record, have absolutely fucking kick-ass opening tracks. My fucking goodness, what a pair they are.
Wow.
And for me, both albums are all killer, no filler all the way through. And to me, whichever one of this goes through is probably right on contention for winning the whole thing as far as I'm concerned. They're both great. But the more I thought about this one, for me personally, was how I sort of started to settle on which one worked out a deeper hole, just by ever so much. I utterly adore Iron Maiden, and honestly, like I said, whichever of these ones go through could be the pick of the bunch as far as I'm concerned. Whilst Maiden and Brave New World is one of my all-time favorite albums, don't get me wrong at all. It's a homecoming versus an almost reinvention, and for me, that was perfect, beautiful, wonderful, but it was also a little bit safe. They'd done the hard thing before with Blaze, and then they brought back, you know, an almost guarantee of success because everyone was going to go nuts for this one, which was proven and deservedly so. Nothing wrong with it, just an observation. But for me, I thought Rammstein took a much greater risk. They swung for the fences, especially with the opening single and video and opening track on here with the song Deutschland. Listen to the song, pay attention to the lyrics, and watch the video. They really went, fuck it, we're going to do something that is so faux pas, it's not even funny when you think about it. And they went and did it anyway. It's like this band caught controversy and came out marrying the fucking thing and winning, as far as I'm concerned. They leaned into it after a decade away. They showed that they were still kings in their particular part of the world for me. The darkness, the topics, the delivery, the visceral nature of it all, it haunts me. And while both have become all-time favorites of mine personally, Rammstein for me just edges the other one by the thinnest of margins. So I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with Rammstein. So it's one each as we go through things here. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy whichever one goes through, but I just had to think about this one hard, and that's where I landed. So next up is Dave.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Rammstein album. That was cool, but I can't go past Maiden. One of the best, the most important metal albums of all time. One of the best Iron Maiden albums. Certainly, without question, it was a fucking dominant comeback for the band and for metal. Definitely needed that album at the time. It was fucking amazing. And, you know, not to be a cunt, but they didn't have to resort to the whole pyro shit and glam and fucking glitz. And they just kept it old school, traditional. That's the way it should be. You always go back old school for me, and that was fucking great to have that back in 2000. So definitely Maiden.
Yeah, I completely get it, man. I'm not disputing that at all. Yeah. I get it. Just we've gone different ways. It's all good. Which means Belle has the final word for this one.
Okay.
So, over to you.
I've got to rip the Band-Aid off because all of my comments and notes that I've written down will give it away anyway. So I'm going with Rammstein for this battle. Wow. And honestly, it wasn't hard for you, Andrew. It was not hard at all.
Okay.
The Iron Maiden album is an Iron Maiden album. I don't remember the whole Bruce coming. Like, I don't know where I was.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I know where I was.
It was fucking heavy.
A dance floor listening to techno or something. I went through a phase. Anyway, like I just don't remember all this happening. So it's
Call yourself a metalhead.
I know. And who was saying every metalhead under the sun that calls it
true. It was a collective fuck yeah. Everyone did it. You know?
That's priceless.
Except Belle.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I wouldn't have any other way, to be honest.
Yeah. Look, and so recently, this is my first time hearing this. And I'm going to be quite unpopular in my opinion too, because if I'm honest, I find Brave New World kind of boring. Like it just, it does not hold my attention. It doesn't hold my attention. There is one song on here that holds my attention from start to finish, and that's The Fallen Angel. I really like that song.
Okay.
I mean, I don't dislike the album.
Yeah, I
don't dislike it. But it's just like, you know, Maiden, like they're doing their thing. And honestly,
I invite you to listen to their previous
That's what was so
album.
different about the album. They don't do the gallop as often.
Yeah.
They really don't.
Well, I'm just hearing Maiden doing Maiden things.
Go back to Virtual 11 and then come back to fucking Brave New World and you're going to go, oh my God. Yes.
I don't want to go back to Brave New World. I will, if I have to, if we go there again in whatever context. Fine.
We should do Virtual 11. Make her listen to that one.
Oh,
yes.
I'll listen to whatever you throw at me. It doesn't mean I have to like it.
That's true, Belle.
Duck.
Well,
So yeah, look, Rammstein, however, has my attention from start to finish. Every song I like on the album, like it gets my blood pumping. I get moving. I feel, you know, I feel when I listen to this album. I just, you know, Maiden is just like, it's fine. It's Maiden, but I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with not being around for the hype. I don't know, but
that's possibly a thing, to be honest. Yeah,
it's possibly a thing. Yeah, I stopped following Maiden to a point, and then anything new is new. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I went elsewhere. So coming back feels
Not
familiar.
everyone's journey is linear. That's fine.
Yeah. It just, there are bands that I have. I love Maiden. I don't know. It just didn't really grip me. But anyway, it's okay. Rammstein for me. Okay. I don't know what that means.
I know what it means. It's all good, but it's as tight as it gets though, because sorry, I'm assuming you're finished, Bill.
I'm done. Thank you.
I don't want to cut you off. But what we do whenever there's a tiebreaker required, because we have a tiebreak for us, we always go with the higher seed. Yeah. The funny thing about this one is that in the way the seeding is determined by the album's play count. So we go through and tally up how many times each song has been played.
Dead.
Well, actually, it's kind of interesting because there is the caveat to that, in that the seeding is determined by that when there's a tie, but when there's a clear audience choice, that takes a higher seed overall. So in this context, what do we got here? Rammstein have 1.5 billion plays, but Iron Maiden got more nods in the audience voting. So the audience take the note here that it pushed it up to number 2 in the seeding. Rammstein, despite that, was number 3, even with a higher play count, because it was more audience love for Iron Maiden in the seeding process of this. So because this is 2 versus 3, that's where it balances out. Iron Maiden go through as determined by the pre-seeding ratio on this one. So regardless of how people think, feel, or whatever else, that's how we've gone with things, because it had to find a way to split these things. So it's by split decision, for lack of a better term.
It's a split decision, because
Deutschland
song, it's had 500 million fucking views. One song is more than the entire album.
I know, but because the audience had more love in the seeding process for Iron Maiden,
I just didn't see it coming.
So that's where it balances out. So, but I think it also shows that between our opinions here and between the way it's played out, with more audience love but more plays for one album, it sort of shows how tight this actually is in a lot of respects, and it's tighter than maybe people would expect it to be in some cases as well. But regardless of the fact, give everyone a minute here to think about it, because for you guys, for us, it is AC/DC versus Iron Maiden. That is how we're going to close this out. All right. I think Bell might go first. I don't know. We'll see how we go. But just to neaten things off here. But I'm going to quickly, while everyone has a moment to compose and prepare their little argument, because we go in blind, we don't know. I'm going to quickly go through and recap what the audience did to us in this regard. So just to quickly go back through things here, just to go back to the beginning. In round 1, it was Anthrax versus Doth. And for us, it was Doth that got the win. For the audience, it was Anthrax. For round 2, it was Alice in Chains versus Ancients, and it was unanimous on both fronts. Alice in Chains went through. Round 3 saw Def Leppard versus Guns N' Roses with Chinese Democracy. The winner there on both counts was Def Leppard. However, Def Leppard was a split decision, the same thing that we had here just now with Rammstein versus Iron Maiden. So just missed out. Round 4 was Rammstein versus Deep Purple, and it was unanimous on both fronts that Rammstein would go through. Round 5 was AC/DC. For us, was versus Doth. For the audience, was versus Anthrax. Didn't matter. Both counts, AC/DC went through. And for the last round before this week, we had Iron Maiden versus Alice in Chains, and it was unanimous again to both fronts. Iron Maiden winning both cases, audience and us, which leads us to this point here. So for the audience, again, they had the same. It was the same battles all the way through from this point forward. No splitting off between our tree and the audience tree. It was all the same thing. So for the audience, when it came to AC/DC versus Def Leppard, they had one vote determined here. So this was tight as well. Both of these battles were exceptionally tight. One vote determined the winner. It was AC/DC won by one vote over Def Leppard. So it shows how good both of these albums are and how well loved. So AC/DC goes through just the same as it did for us. When it came to the audience side of things for the next round, when it was Iron Maiden versus Rammstein, again, it was one vote that split the difference. One vote. However, the audience went the other way, and they went with Rammstein over Iron Maiden by one vote.
Wow. So
there we go. We have we're going against each other in this one here, which leads us to the conclusion, because for the audience, it was AC/DC versus Rammstein, whereas we are going AC/DC versus Iron Maiden. Can rip the bandit off into the audience first here, because we'll see if we match up with them. But the audience have gone with with about 70% of the margin with the vote, by the way, it went to AC/DC. So AC/DC, but as far as the audience are concerned, have the greatest comeback album of all time out of this little list of 10 that we put together. So well done to AC/DC for winning the audience vote. Congrats to all around. But now it's time for us to go through and pick our ones here. Again, 2 monumental comeback albums, Back in Black, Forged in Tragedy, defiant from track 1 to the end kind of thing, loaded with unstoppable riffs and rock anthems that defined a generation, going up against Brave New World, Iron Maiden's Rebirth, the return of Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith delivering a modern classic full of ambition and power, pure rock and roll resilience versus the soaring might of metal's finest, 2 legends, 1 crown. Which one takes it tonight? Let's go to Dave first on this one. Which way are you leaning here?
Okay. I was only like a month old, I think, when Back in Black came out. So it all was in hindsight when that whole Bon Scott transitioning to Brian Johnson. So, but Iron Maiden coming back, I was 20. And that was like a monumental thing in my lifetime that, you know, this band that I grew up loving from when I was like 8 or 9. Then the whole fucking 90s happened. I was spoken extensively on that. And then, yes, finally, I'm 20 years old. Metal's back. Bruce is back. This is fucking everything in the world. This is exactly what I needed right now. So as much as I love AC/DC, this is a fucking easy win. Maiden. Not only one of their best albums, it's one of my favorite albums and possibly one of the best metal albums of all time. So easy. And it was monumental comeback. So, yeah, easy win.
Well, at the end of the day, this is number 1 versus number 2 in the audience seating as well. So we'll see how it goes. But Belle, what have you got to say?
Well, I think I've already pretty much said what I think about Iron Maiden, and I'm not going to go with Iron Maiden. I'm going to go with Back in Black for... Well, obvious reasons.
Yep,
it's not boring. It's just
I'd be surprised if you're the other way now.
You are the only metalhead on the face of the earth that's ever called Brave New World boring.
Yeah, well, interesting.
Oh, I'm sure I can find someone. Physical challenge.
I would like
Is
to see
anyone
you try.
watching?
Yeah,
Do
but to say
they
we'll skim
agree
through
with me?
comments to get out of here. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Does anyone else think Brave New World is a boring album?
Well, that's a good question. We'll ask that one out there. We'll see what the comments go at the end of the night. All right, so Belle's determined her choice. I'm going to go next. I'll leave Jeff to have the final word on this one. Oh, well, I'm sorry. The
pressure.
For me, no pressure, Jeff. I said before in my previous rounds that when it came down to it, I had one battle that was harder than the other one for me, and that, you know, whichever one won that battle was probably going to be the one that went through to the end. Now, this is not a slight on AC/DC at all. I love Back in Black, and I think it's a triumphant return to form. And even though I just voted for Rammstein over Iron Maiden, I'm going to go with Iron Maiden because it wasn't just... Yeah, we lived through the hype of that one. I remember that one vividly versus Back in Black. Obviously, Dave and I are of a similar age. But when I listened to both of these albums, and I have listened to them both time and again over the last how many weeks we've been doing this one, and also this week alone, I listened to them both a couple of times again. And as much as I love AC/DC Back in Black, it's a fantastic album. There are little moments in there that I catch myself thinking that whilst it's pretty much a 10 they're both 10 out of 10 albums. This is not a critique, but when you have yourself in the back of your mind, just a little bug that goes off and says, those lyrics might have been better done by Bon. And that's a little smallest of little fucking things in the back of my mind. That happens with Back in Black. I love it, but it's just a little tiny little fucking grain of whatever. Whereas the Brave New World album is one of my all-time favorites of all time, but it's also an album that I can listen to from beginning to end, and it feels like coming home. There's no separation, nothing that pulls me out, nothing that makes me think about what I'm listening to. It just takes me into the journey the whole way through beginning and doesn't let me go. And so when there's no distractive, intrusive sort of thought, you have to go with that one for me. So I am going to go with Iron Maiden, Brave New World, even though I love both albums and I love them both to death, and I'll listen to them quite happily again tomorrow. But I'm going to go with Iron Maiden here because for me, it's the one that I don't have that one grain of sand that fucking, it's literally that much that just slightly is a bump in the road. One is just that little bit smoother than the other one. And that's just years of perfection and honed craft and that lived experience that they've had together showing through, versus while it's one of the greatest comebacks of all time, as an album, there are those little moments that you can tell where there was a transition, whereas with Brave New World, everyone's come home. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing, the same time, the same pacing, everything clicked and it worked. That said, Jeff, you have the final word.
I can't do it.
Bullshit, you can't.
Sorry. Look, this is
better do it quick.
This is tough. This is a really tough one. Look, I remember Brave New World. I remember that, that fuck yes thing. You know, the internet was in '99. The internet was sort of in its infancy, really. And so all of us were trying to get our heads around how it all worked and, you know, and use it and stuff like that. And then the word came down that not only was Bruce coming back, but he was bringing Adrian Smith back, which none of us saw coming. That was actually bigger than Bruce coming back, because I think secretly we all wanted Bruce to come back, but, you know, he was off doing his thing. The AC/DC, when Bon Scott died, I was 10, and to be honest, I don't have that much memories of that, if at all. I remember listening to, you know, Hell's Bells by my buddy Sean, blasting it across the street, and me going, "What the fuck is that?" You know, at 11 years old or whatever. I had no idea, and it really made me. I was just fucking enamored with that sound. You know, when you're 10 years old, 11 years old, and you hear like bong, bong, what the fuck is that, right? And he had it on his porch, cranked the whole bit. Anyway, cool. But I didn't know about Bon until years later, really, what had happened. So I wasn't really, old enough to remember. And so for me, there was no emotional weight there. With the album. It just didn't have it. Obviously sad that Bon died and everything, but they've come back and they released an album that is just amazing. That is like, the resilience, but that has a lot to do with not only just the band. Yes, that album is a 10 out of 10 album. Everyone loves it. And every song on it is great. There's no real skippable tracks. Every song is great. Iron Maiden, Brave New World, it's up there. It's up there with some of the best stuff that they ever did. Certainly better than anything fucking they did with Blaze. But that's a pretty low bar, to be honest. Bon Scott and Blaze, Exit.
Yeah.
How do I do this? I think from the emotional impact that the albums had, I think if I was to be fair, I would go with Iron Maiden, but I'm not. I'm gonna go with AC/DC because I think it's the more important album of the two. I think that it was the album that defined a genre. So once again, we're tied.
Yeah. Wow.
Defined a genre. How?
What's that?
Defined a genre. How?
Well, because AC/DC, that album, if you think about all the AC/DC albums up to that, the AC/DC was a great band, but they didn't have the cohesion that happened with Bon Scott. When Brian Johnson came in,
getting there, though. Highway the Hell.
It was getting there. You're right.
Blitzed it.
Yeah, it was already defined by them. They just refined it and made it better.
Yeah.
You can make the same argument about Maiden too. Like it didn't.
Yeah, well, that was something about Brave New World. They sound like Maiden, but they're also different. It wasn't the same Maiden.
That's right.
No, that's true.
Yeah. I agree. Look, I love both albums. So I love them absolutely both to death.
Yeah.
Which to me had the bigger impact on society and music as a whole. I think it was AC/DC's Back in Black.
Okay.
Yes.
I would tend to in context, agree with that, to be blunt. But I personally prefer Maiden. But in terms of historical relevance, I'd argue Back in Black is probably a better historical relevant album. But anyway, all of our opinions are now irrelevant because it comes down to seating again. It's another split decision, which this time around, though, the play count and the audience voting, it's funny how it came down at the end of the day. Number 2 beat number 3 seed, and now it's number 1 v number 2, which means that AC/DC are going to be the crowned champions of this one as well, simply due to the fact that they were the number 1 seed in this one because they have the higher play count by a fair fucking margin. They're at nearly 4.5 billion plays, whereas Iron Maiden are at 200 million plays. So that's where that one comes into account on that album, those albums alone, for the rules we've set for all these things going into advance. But we've been doing this for a little while now. We've never had a season close this close as this before. Like, this is the tightest it's been at the end. Usually we come to an end and it's like, fucking, yeah, we all know where we're going with this one, and bang, maybe there's one dissenting vote and then the rest is fucking whatever. For us to be split and to be determined by such a slim margin in 2 different rounds leading to the very final choice is actually the first time we've gone this much to the wire. So actually, this is fucking cool. Well done to everyone. I know we made it all win and agree and all that kind of stuff, but it's been a lot of fun, and it's been interesting to see how tight it was at the very end as well. So I'm glad. At the end of the day, us and the audience are in agreement, whether we, Dave and I in particular, agree or not. But that is how it balanced out in the way it works out as we've set the rules, because that's the fairest way we can make it work. So that is that. Next season of King of the Riff.
You need to watch Rock in Rio.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That would be cool. I think so. I agree, Dave.
Maiden on the Brave New World Tour in front of 40,000 screaming metal.
I was going to say, which
40,000.
one? Okay.
40,000.
Yeah, 40,000 people.
It's special, Bell. It's special.
Yeah.
All right.
That was fucking amazing.
I'm happy to do that. And I honestly, like, it sucks that I'm not getting the energy that you guys are getting from this album, because
maybe 40,000 people will help. But they take 3/4 of the album.
Maybe they will.
Classic.
Yep.
So, okay, Dave, just so you know,
cool.
Just so I can clarify this, that was 300 to 350,000. That
okay.
That crowd, if you look at it, it was insane.
Did I say 40,000? It's close to 400,000.
400,000. Yeah, that's right.
It was fucking huge.
It's a
10
moment.
times. Yeah. It's 40,000. Anybody can do that.
It's a moment in time.
Yeah, close to 400,000.
That's right.
It's
but that's right, and
crazy.
The only one criticism I have about that Brave New World, the concert, and I love it, is the fucking camera angle. Just
They multi-cam the hell out of it because it had like DVD and it was new.
I think so. It was just insane. It actually gives you a headache trying to watch it.
Oh,
cool.
Recommend that.
Yeah, that's going to sell it to Bell. Thanks.
Sorry, it's great music.
I didn't mind it. I like fast-paced cutting and everything. But it looked good. But them playing Blood Brothers, that's like the fucking love letter to metalheads all time. That was great.
And that's even Bruce says at the concert. He says, this is for you.
And they still play that song. They played it last year when we saw them.
Yeah. Bill, if you get a chance, watch it and see if it changes your mind at all. But we've got like 3 minutes till fucking pumpkin time for us here at the show. So I'm going to quickly run off a few things here. 3 on my clock. But anyway, I'm going to get us moving anyway. Just so everyone knows, in a couple of weeks, we're going to start a new season, as we always do. We'll see how things play out. But the next season of King of the Riff is going to be Australian albums. Australian artists have won the day in Patreon votes. So we're going to poll the audience soon. We're going to get 10 albums together from the audience for Australian bands, and then we'll put our choices in like we've done in the past and go from there. But we're going to keep your eyes peeled for that one, and we'll go through things as they do. But think about your favorite all-time albums from Australian bands. That's coming up in the next season of King of the Riff. So it's all Australian, which is kind of fitting for what we do here and who we are.
Awesome.
Again, next week is all the hard rock happenings and the usual stuff. We're going to have Backyard Banger, which is Jeff with Binary Pulse, Underground at Skies. I'm going to update playlists tonight, so get ready. Fretboard Feud is May 85. Dave has the game next week, so you're up. And the Global Groove, I've got to update that bit of paperwork on mine, but Global Groove is my choice, which is Tremonti. The End will show us how. We'll have picking albums, the King of the Riff, and we'll also have, the Metal Mogul stuff and all those other bits and pieces we play on those off weeks we have as well. So stay tuned for that next week. And also check us out on television as well, 10:30 p.m. Saturday nights on Channel 31 in Melbourne, 10:30 p.m. Thursday nights, Channel 44 in Adelaide, both in local time. Make sure you check out our live streams like you do here, but also follow us on your preferred social media platform. I'll check out comments as we get out of here tonight. I'll try and quickly skim here, but we've got to get out of here. So before we do, you know what to do. Like, follow, subscribe, check out our Patreon page, all the usual stuff. But time to raise a glass. What are we going to raise a glass to this week, folks? Let's do it. The happy way to end things. Dave, what are you raising your glass to this week?
I got tickets to Sebastian Bach.
Yes.
I'm happy.
Well done. I'm going to raise a glass to that. Nicely done, man. I'm stoked for you, man. That's going to be a fucking ripper.
I've never seen it.
You're going to enjoy it, man. I fucking hope you love it as much as I did the last one. So I'm at the same.
I'm sure I will.
Cool.
Dude has still got his voice. I'm stoked for that. So I got to see him before I fucking die. Before he fucking dies.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Like, it's going to be great. That venue, his voice, it's going to go off.
Oh, the Forum's a fucking great place.
Yeah.
So yeah, no way I can miss this.
I do miss that venue. That's one of the few that I miss. But yeah, well done. All right, Jeff, raise a glass, or whatever you said before earlier tonight.
All right. So my glass is well, it's interesting because behind the scenes here, during the week there was some interesting shit going down, and nonetheless, yeah. So and basically it was just me, and but I was having a bit of an issue. And I had a sore leg, and I thought, fuck, and I mentioned that. And then because I couldn't, we have a lot of work to do, guys, with this show. So I couldn't fucking remember something. And then it was like, go to the doctor. I'm like, what? And then everyone was like, go to the doctor, Jeff. You better go to the doctor. And so eventually I posted up.
I thought I needed to call for a welfare check on you. You were so fucking confused.
Yeah, I know. I really was. I was confused, but I had to explain myself. So I had to put up a, wasp cover version of I don't need no doctor, and they got all that. That was funny. But so I just want to say this show, everyone involved, they're like family, and I know they genuinely felt for me, and they were hoping that everything was going to be all right, and they genuinely wanted me to be all right. So it was a no-brainer. I didn't have to write this one down. I was going to remember this one very easily. So thank you very much, guys. I love you all. And so my tip of glass to you, or the flagon to you all for that. Thank you. That means a lot.
We love you back, and that's why we were so fucking antsy on you.
Yeah, you're acting weird, man.
Yeah,
you were a bit weird. But then I couldn't talk my way out of it. And I was like,
no, you couldn't.
I got stupid. I didn't know what to do. So I had
to talked your way further deep in the show.
I know. Because I was just, I was a bit confused, but I had the reason why I was confused. Like once I explained it, they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Anyway, that's me. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. And don't stop.
No, well, we won't change. You can be assured of that, Jeff. And whenever something goes wrong, we're going to be still badgering you to the fucking doctor. That's going to be a guarantee.
Right.
But Belle, what have you got for us this week?
I have got something very exciting. Maybe not for you guys, but definitely for me. I saw a post. No, nothing to do with. Well, I mean, I don't know. Probably not knowing this band. I don't think they cover cum punches, whatever they are. I'm getting an idea, but anyway.
Oh, wow. All right.
After some helpful comments by the audience, thank you very much for that. Let's put that aside. All right, so one of my favorite bands, Muse, posted something very cryptic on YouTube. It's the only social media platform I bother with these days. So I saw a post. It was just an image of sort of a distorted silhouette of, I think it was the three of them, that they're a trio, in kind of this orangey glow. And it just said, an insect trapped in amber. So what does this mean? I don't know, their last album came out in 2022. They're not so prolific that they put one out every 3 years, but, maybe an EP, maybe a single, maybe there's an album next year. I don't know. It's all very creepy. There was obviously comments that kind of followed on like, oh, what could this mean? Well, they sort of do a dystopian thing. Maybe maybe it's a reference to Jurassic Park and the whole, what's that quote that Dr. Malcolm says, just because you
Can doesn't mean you
should,
doesn't
just
mean
when
you
you
should,
should. Yeah, like what are they referring to? Could it be AI? Like, anyway, so lots of speculation, which is fun. But
Yes.
yeah, so that excited me that they're
Nice.
kind of doing that, because they do
Yeah.
that. Like, they kind of put little kind of just throw a fucking bomb out there, and everyone just goes, "Oh my god, what's going on, Muse?" So yeah, I'm excited. That's my glass.
Nice. Raise a glass. Well done. Mine on that note is very similar to Jeff, because behind the scenes it's been a rough couple of weeks. We had some technical difficulties at my end in particular, which has really fucked with a lot of things behind the scenes. And then last week, as we were getting ready to go live, I was like, I can't. And I was too just fucking exhausted. I've had a hell of a lot going on, not only to get things working again, but also just behind the scenes in just the real world, quote unquote. And so my razor glass is the same as Jeff, is to all of you guys here. Not only to you guys, but also the wider family that are a part of watching the show behind the scenes, and the patience and support that is given when things don't quite go to plan. I don't think, after doing this for as many years as I've done it, that I could ever take it for granted. Not that I could, but every single time it always just hits home to me just how good a group of people we have, not only behind the scenes here with you guys here today, but also with everyone that's been a part of the show in the past, but also with the audience we've developed along the way as well. And so I want to raise a glass and say thank you to everyone for the support and patience and that sort of stuff that goes into it, because sometimes life just gets in the way, and I want to thank you all for bearing with me, and we're back into the swing of things now. So thank you to all of you. I do very much appreciate it, and want to give you all my love and thanks for that, for this week in particular.
Cheers.
So, there we go.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right. On that note, it's 5 past pumpkin o'clock. All right. So I'm going to finish up the comments. I'm going to read the comments behind the scenes here before I finish the recording. So I'm going to get everything on record, but I'm not going to worry about trying to go through them all tonight. So I apologize for the ones we're going to miss, because I know that we have curfews. We've got to try and keep things, on time. So I don't want to make us go too late, because we have all got to go to work tomorrow. So I want to thank you all for joining us. Thank you to Dave beside me on the screen here. Thank you to Jeff in the opposite corner, and thank you to Belle, as always, in the underneath corner as well. Thank you so much to you guys for jumping in and being patient, like I said, with me last fortnight in particular. But also thank you to all of you watching, and hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we look forward to your feedback. We look forward to reading the final comments as I go through things here tonight. But thank you all, and we'll see you all again, same time and place next week. Until then, though, I'm Andrew, and you all know what to do. As always, remember, drink up, rock on. See you soon.
Cheers.